Hello! Hopefully we are live with episode 2 of the Geeky Pastimes live stream. So for people who don't know what this is and are watching the VOD back, basically I had the idea of doing some streams at least as more of a kind of a podcast, I guess, like that kind of thing. But talking about gaming news, what I've been playing lately, what's coming out over the next week, what's going on in the gaming world, and we'll maybe try out some smaller games and things like that I'm not going to do like a whole 4 hour stream for, but I wanted to check out just because I'm curious. And we'll just talk about stuff that's going on. So I'm really excited to do this. The first episode went really well. I really enjoyed that. But if you have any feedback, anything where you think, oh, this would be better if you talked about this kind of stuff, or we'd like you to try and do this in it, let me know. Like, put it in the comments if you're watching this back as a VOD, or just let me know in chat if you're watching this live. I'd be super interested because all of this is a bit of an experiment. But the genesis of this, the creation of this, is essentially me, like a lot of other Call of Duty creators, I think, are just kind of tired of Call of Duty. It's not in a great place right now. It's not a huge amount of fun to play, and I kind of don't want to play it every day. Like, we'll still occasionally do Call of Duty streams, but it might be more like once a week rather than every single morning. But we'll see how that goes. Good morning, Alphas, first in the chat. Thank you very much. Don't forget to give the stream a like, or the VOD a like, I guess, as you come in. As a quick warning, I have heard from people that there's been loads of replies to comments on my past videos, on old videos this morning from spam bots. If they say stuff like, hey, I'm going to contact you on Telegram or something like that, or you've won a prize, that's just spam. It's not real. Annoyingly, because it's a reply to a comment, I don't actually get a notification for it. So it's not like I can't just go through and auto block all of them, which is very, very annoying. It's something that YouTube kind of needs to work on. They're very sneaky, these bots. But yeah, so the plan for this week, we've actually got quite a lot going on this week, I think. Like, it should be quite a fun one. Today is Monday. That's when I'm recording this. It's Monday morning. Later today, I have a Stream Deck Plus coming, which is something that I've kind of wanted for a while. And I decided just to bite the bullet and buy one. It's basically something that's like the normal Stream Deck. I've got a Stream Deck Mini on my gaming PC right now, and then a normal Stream Deck on my streaming PC. And the Stream Deck Mini only has 6 buttons. But that was fine, because really all I used it for, my gaming PC, was to change the output of my speakers, to start recording, start taking screenshots, and also to use the replay buffer thing. And then I started being like, oh, I'd quite like to use it for like a soundboard in Call of Duty for proxy chat, so I can play like funny sounds and stuff. And that started getting a pain because then I only had 5 buttons because I had to change pages with one of them. The Stream Deck Plus has 8 buttons, which isn't a lot more, but it's not too bad. But then it also has 4 dials on it, which are also, they all work as buttons, and a sort of touchscreen thing that you can swipe. So you can like swipe between pages using the touchscreen and display some information on there, and then use a dial. So I can use it to control all of the different levels for audio. So I'll finally be able to go back to being able to control things like the game volume and Discord volume separately, which will be nice. Because you can just swipe on the thing, I can swipe and have like a page that's all about Discord. So I could join channels and stuff like that and control that on there, or a page that is all about recording video. So yeah, I'm quite excited about that. The Mini can go full me, but I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with the Mini, to be honest, because I don't know if having 2 Stream Decks is even possible on a PC. It might be that the Mini gets relegated to like taking it when I use my laptop if I need something for that. If I ever have to go to take a capture card to a capture event or something like that, or I might sell it. I'm starting to build up quite a lot of stuff that I could sell now. Like I've got an old mic arm that I'm not using anymore. I've got an old 1080p 60 frames per second capture card that I'm not using anymore. Like, they're not bad to have as backups right now in case something else goes wrong. But yeah, you can have several Stream Decks on at the same time. You have 2 on your gaming PC. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know what I would use 2 separate ones for. I suppose I could have one for just doing like recording stuff and then the other one for audio, maybe. I don't know. I'll have a think about it. But yeah, I might get into the stage where I'm selling loads of stuff. So if anyone wants some Geeky Pastimes used streaming equipment, I might do that. I have actually been toying with the idea of creating another YouTube channel, and just doing like stream advice stuff on there. So not like, oh, this is how you get more followers or this is how you get more views or anything like that. Because obviously, if I knew how to do that, I'd have a lot more followers and views. But doing stuff like, hey, this is a problem. This is how I got around it. Like, I did my video about how to do audio on 2 streaming PCs. It didn't do that well, that video. It's only got like 400 views. And a big part of that is people follow me for Call of Duty content. Not many of them are streaming with a 2 PC setup. But I might do something where it's like a separate channel where it's just like streaming equipment reviews. So being like, hey, I bought this or I got sent this. This is what I think of it. Would I buy it again? How useful is it? This is what I use it for. And then also doing like, okay, this is how I switch between console and PC. Because that's actually kind of a weirdly tricky thing where when I'm streaming console, I can switch between console and PC just with one button. Which, like, stuff like that is a little bit more complicated maybe, and it's stuff that I've learned over the last few years how to do. And like when transitions are a good idea in OBS and how to use different browser sources, how to monitor audio in OBS because it doesn't work properly. Stuff like that. So I might do a second channel like that. It's always daunting, the thought of doing a second channel, because it's like right now I do generally, and this is like a general week, right now I do a video and a stream every weekday on this channel. And then sometimes, I would say more often than not, I stream at the weekend as well. I do streams on Saturday and Sunday. I don't often do videos on Saturday and Sunday, but I tend to do streams. I did do a TikTok and a YouTube short yesterday, but it didn't do very well. It wasn't great. It was more just like there was a cool thing and I wanted to put it out there before it became irrelevant. But yeah, check it out actually. It's about Diablo. It's like the most ridiculous ability in Diablo. It's very cool. Anyway, yeah, I don't really know whether I have like the bandwidth to do an extra channel. But there's lots of benefits to it. Like if I did an extra channel, it's like something I'm kind of interested in that's not getting like, it's not going to go away like Call of Duty or something like that. The videos would have a much longer tail on it because, if I did a video on like how to use the Go XLR or how to use the Wave XLR, like those are things that people will be using for years and have been using for years. And obviously then there's also the benefit that there's more chance that I'll get sent stuff by like, Elgato or Rode Media or whoever. So I might do something like that. I haven't really decided, but that might be cool. Yeah, like, well, that's the thing, reconfiguring OBS and stuff. Once you've been doing it for a couple of years, a lot of stuff becomes second nature that you just like, what to do. But I think a lot of the time when I was setting it up, the first time round when I came across problems, there's so many times you come across a problem that's kind of unique to you because you're using a version of OBS. OBS actually updates quite a lot. Like OBS updates, I'd say maybe they have like major updates like twice a year. And that means other people who might have had the same problem as you 2 years ago, their way of solving it doesn't work anymore, or their way of solving it isn't the best way of solving it anymore. So it's one of those weirdly niche things. It's like, when you're trying to do something on your car, and it's like you find a video that is your problem, but it's for like a different model of your car, like a couple of years newer or a couple of years older, and it's like, oh, I just need something that's like specific to mine. So there is gaps in the video market for something like that. So I might do that. That might be a project for this week, maybe. I might do a few less Geeky Pastimes videos and start doing a couple on a different channel. But we'll see how that goes. I mean, like if I do that, I have to go back to changing my expectations to being like going from having, expecting to get 1,000 views on a video to expecting to get 10 views on a video, that kind of thing. Maybe we'll try and do that. Streamer tech support is a growing occupation from the sounds of it. Benny's hopeless with PCs. Yeah, I've tried to help Benny a couple of times. It could be a tough experience sometimes with people if like you're not used to explaining stuff and you can't see their setup. But I think if I just did like reviews, if I was just like, I've got a load of stuff in here that I could review. I've got like 2 capture cards that I could review. I've got the Wave XLR, the Go XLR, my camera, my Sony ZV-1 camera, the Elgato like Camlink software that I use, OBS itself, the Wavelink software. There's a lot of stuff like that where I'm like, hey, I could talk to people about what's good or bad about this and then do separate videos. I think one problem that I've had when I've made videos like that before is kind of I make a video about how to do my streaming setup and I try to include everything and the video ends up being like half an hour long. I think it might be better to have like a 5-minute video where I'm like, hey, this is how you set up alerts on OBS using Stream Elements. And it's, you know, a very specific thing. And it's like, I know they have their own documentation, but a lot of the time I find that their documentation is kind of bad. It just doesn't seem great at all, which is a shame. You were trying to explain bitrate versus resolution for streaming his chat once. That hurt. Did Benny ever order a pedal and set it up? Does Benny not have a pedal? I find it insane that the idea that people would stream multiplayer games without a pedal. That seems crazy to me. Especially if you play with other streamers. If you've got to press a button or a combination of buttons to push to talk, like, that would be a nightmare playing something like Call of Duty. Bizarre. I find, like, AFAs, with the whole bitrate and resolution thing, it's one of those things that becomes very straightforward. Again, like, once you've been doing it for a few years. But whenever I have a problem with the stream, the number of people who want to kind of explain it to me as if I don't know what it is. Like, sometimes the stream will be, like, lower quality than usual because, you know, maybe my upload speed is lower than usual, or there's some problem with YouTube or Twitch or whatever. And then people will be like, oh, you could try increasing the bitrate. And it's like, I know, but I have the bitrate set what it is because that's the right way to set it up. It's very kind of frustrating sometimes that people go the other way and assume you don't know about stuff like that. I find that really annoying, as you know. You think he ordered a pedal but couldn't figure it out. Oh man, the pedal I've got, that would be a good review because the pedal I've got is super cheap. I've got a pedal that is, I don't know how much it was. It was like cheap on Amazon, man. I'm gonna look it up. It's one thing I love about Amazon. It sounds like stupid, and it's like such an easy thing, is that you can go back to your orders, and because I've used the same website to order basically everything from for like years now, I can literally type in pedal in my order search and be like, oh yeah, there it is. I ordered it 6th November 2020. So yeah, I ordered this pedal and it's £40. I don't think I even paid that. I think I paid less than that. Oh no, I did. I paid £40. Yeah. So I paid £40 for my pedal. Which it just has 2 pedals. It doesn't have 3 like Elgato does, and it doesn't work with the fancy Elgato software. Right, Elgato pedal. How much is the Elgato one? I can't even see how much the Elgato one. Oh, the Elgato one's £80. So yeah, I paid half price for this. And it's like, literally all it is it's a pedal. It's 2 pedals together, and they connect to your PC via USB. And there's a really simple piece of software that you use that programs what each pedal will do as like a keyboard press. So I have one of my pedals that's set as the Z key, and one of the pedals set as like some ridiculous key that's like Alt plus 132 or something, like, you know, some weird command that wouldn't get used otherwise. And then basically I use it so in Call of Duty for proxy chat, I have push to talk put on for proxy chat, and that's set to my Z key. So then if I press my left pedal, then I can talk to people in game. But when I'm talking normally, they can't hear me, which is obviously kind of an advantage in Warzone. But also it's quite good if you're streaming. Like, if you're streaming, you don't want to be constantly talking to your teammates in Call of Duty when you're playing with randoms. That would be super rude to them. And then I have the other one, the one that's set to Alt plus blah, blah, blah. That one is set to, what's it do? Oh, that one's set to my push to talk for Discord. So that means that I can, like, say if I'm playing in a group with like Broken and Lackey and that lot, I can be talking to stream and not bother their streams, not have my audio going over their streams, unless I need to talk to them, then I hold that pedal. And then if I want to talk to over proxy chat, you know, doing something funny or having some interaction in DMZ or whatever, then I can press the other pedal just to do that again without bothering anyone else. It's really cool. It's like been really, really helpful. I've really enjoyed having a foot pedal for it. I used to have it so like some people have it so it's like they'll have one button so it mutes Discord. So, you know, if you're watching a cutscene in the game or something like that where you don't want them to disturb you, like I find that useful when we're playing zombies. I don't often want, if I'm recording especially, I don't want people to be talking over the cutscene, so I'll press a button and then just mute all of Discord while the cutscene's on and then come back out. Lots of people use it for stuff like that. It's really cool. I used to use it even but even when I'm not been streaming, I used to use one of the buttons just to switch between my 2 PCs. So I have a small piece of software that lets me use one keyboard and mouse on 2 different PCs. And all I do is like press a button and it like switches which PC I'm controlling, which again, very useful when I'm streaming and I'm playing a game, but I want to control something on my streaming PC. rather than having to use my other keyboard and mouse, which I do have a little keyboard and mouse over here. But if I want to use my main one, I can just press the button and then do it that way, which is really, really cool. Foot pedals are great. I like them. Yeah, so you can deafen teammates in Discord, stuff like that. So there's lots of different things you can do with them. But I would say as a streamer, it's like this again would go on my streaming channel if I make one. Like there's a lot of things that I think would be like a good use of money for someone who was thinking of streaming. And a foot pedal is one of those things. A foot pedal is definitely one of those things where I'm like, this would be a good use of your money. This would be a good use of 40 quid to buy that. I think there's lots of things that people get that aren't a good use of money. You know, like expensive webcams, I don't think are worth it. I would say like nowadays, even like getting a whole second PC setup isn't essential. You know, it's not that useful. Go XLRs, I don't think are worth it. Lots of things like that. But there's some things like having a mic arm or having a foot pedal that I think probably are worth it. If for anyone who's thinking of streaming full time, at least, I think they're super useful. You paid $80 for a free pedal on Amazon. The pedal was 40 and the shipping was 40. Oh, shipping Scandinavia is no joke. So anyway, I started all of this talking about what I wanted to do with my do of the week. So today, doing this, then I'm going to make a video about Diablo afterwards. I might make the thumbnail during this stream. Just to show you, I've been using a new piece of software to make thumbnails, so I might show you how I use Affinity by Serif for that, because I think it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun. And then tomorrow, we've got Crime Boss Rock City coming out. So once the embargo is up for that, I'm going to be playing that. That is a game that, to me at least, it's from the publishers of Payday. I don't know who the developers are exactly. But, like, it looks kind of like Payday, but set, you know, that kind of Miami kind of twist. A little bit more tongue-in-cheek maybe even than Payday was, with a load of celebrities and stuff like that. I think that should be a lot of fun. I think that'll be quite cool. And then on Wednesday, what am I doing on Wednesday? I feel like there was something else important happening on Wednesday or Thursday. Thursday, sadly, I won't be able to stream because I've got to go. I'm busy. I've got to go do some stuff. Wednesday, I might go see John Wick, actually. I do want to go see the new John Wick. I've heard lots of people saying it's really good. I've never seen a John Wick film in the cinema. I've always seen them when they've been on streaming services. Or I've seen them on planes and stuff. But so yeah, so I might go see John Wick at some point. And then, yeah, not sure quite what I'm doing Friday yet. Oh, today I'm also, I don't know if I'll stream it. I might stream it. I might even stream it on Kick or something crazy. We'll talk about Kick later. But I might even do a stream on Kick, or maybe I'll do it on Twitch. But I'm going to help Shauna. Sean J, some of you might know, is like a COD partner. She does a lot of like COD tournaments and stuff like that. She wanted some help doing the raids. So me and Flynn are going to help her through that. And then on Saturday, we're going to have a community night, I think. I'm waiting for final confirmation because the person who was sorting it out's been off sick for a week. But I think what we're going to do on Saturday is do a Call of Duty community night, which we haven't done for a long while. So it's like the UK Call of Duty community thing. It's not just a me thing. And the idea is that we'd be doing some private Warzone mini royale matches, and the people that win would win COD points provided by Call of Duty, which would be awesome. I've got a few concerns about it, namely, will we get 50 people wanting to take part? Because if it's something where like the only people who can win prizes are in the UK, that would kind of suck because that cuts off a lot of my audience. And, you know, getting 50 people for something like that who still want to play Warzone, that might be tricky too. But if they're willing to advertise it using the Call of Duty UK socials and stuff like that, then maybe we'll be able to get it to work. I'm a bit worried. We'll see. But yeah, so got quite an interesting week. Lots of stuff going on. And then there's some other games that I want to play. If they send me a code, I want to play that Deceive Inc. I saw Tomographic posting about it yesterday. I was talking about the trailer actually on the last episode of this. We watched the trailer, and I was saying that I thought it looked pretty good. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether it'll be interesting to see if they send me a code for that, whether that game's actually good or not. It'll be cool. So yeah, a few different things to try, a few different things to play. At some point, we might play some DMZ, but I don't really know. I'm not 100% sure whether we'll play any DMZ. I've just kind of, now we've got to the point where the only quest I've got left to do is the last mission for Black Mouse. And to do it, you've got to go into Building 21. And every time we've gone into Building 21, we've died. It's kind of dampened my excitement for it a little bit. As with everything for DMZ, to be honest. Like, I don't know. I might try and finish it at some point. But it's annoying that it's Building 21, so I can't do it during the week. Like, I could do it today. Like, today we could hop on and try to get it done. But it's like, why? Like, even the reward you get for it, bizarrely, is duplicated from the reward you get for, like, tier 2 of a different group. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about finishing DMZ. It just seems like it would be nice to finish tier 5 on everything. Like, that seems like that would be a good thing to do. But having to go into Building 21, and, like, I know Scotto doesn't want to play much Call of Duty anymore. He doesn't want to play DMZ anymore. So it's kind of like me and Flynn going into Building 21. That means we've got to go in just with 2 of us, which is obviously very, very difficult. Maybe I'll ask Flynn. Maybe I'll ask him if he's about this morning in case he does want to do any. Let me find the Flynn thing. Flynn, do you want to try that stupid Building 21 mission at all this morning? It's my last DMZ mission to finish it. I mean, I've skipped a load of missions, obviously, but we'll see. So yeah, so we might do some DMZ, but I doubt it. Really, like, I'm interested to see what people think about the idea of this channel being a lot less Call of Duty focused. It's really awesome, like, all of you who are, you know, coming out for something like this. Obviously, it's a lot less people than I'd get if I am playing DMZ. But I think rather than tying my channel to something that's not bringing me joy, let's say, to put it one way, it's just a mistake. I think it's better to keep on pushing for doing something that I enjoy, doing something that I'm more interested in. And if that means having to rebuild my audience a bit, it sucks financially, but it's much better in the long run. I've kind of been thinking a lot about the channel. Like, I always do this. Whenever the channel's going well, I'm like, brilliant, I'll do this forever. You know, like, my DMZ guides were doing well. I was streaming DMZ every morning, getting like 150, 200 people watching. And I was like, this is amazing. I'm just going to be able to do this and live on this forever. And then it gets like a couple of weeks later, like, literally it'll change in a week or two. And it's like, oh, now my videos are struggling to get 1,000 views, and the guide videos aren't doing very well anymore. Like, they've all kind of flatlined. Not many people are looking for DMZ guides anymore. The streams are getting less and less people. You know, now I'm struggling to get 100 people in a DMZ stream, and I'm not enjoying it as much. And it's like, okay, I need to, like, do something different. I need to change something. And one of the things that I was thinking a bit about doing is just sort of stopping doing guides. Which is weird, because a couple of months ago, that's the exact opposite of what I was planning on doing. A couple of months ago, when Night DMZ Season 2 came out, I was, in my head, I was like, oh, I need to go hard on the guides. Like, a lot of the guides are like the best videos on my channel. They're the ones that perform the best. They're the most interesting stuff. But they're also the most annoying to create. And I think they probably don't lead to a community. Like, one thing that I miss from the my early days of streaming is on Twitch. I feel like there was a really nice sense of community where there was quite a lot of people and everyone was just there to hang out. And like a lot of you who are here now are like the people on YouTube who like to just hang out. But that's much smaller on YouTube, that, like, group of people. And I think a part of that, you know, I was just thinking about this, like, what would I want out of a YouTube channel? And I don't know, I've never subscribed to a channel that just does guides. Like, I don't find that sort of, it's not something that I would just casually watch. Like, if there was a new Easter egg, I'd still be up for doing a video about it. But like Jack Frags does it, where it's not really a guide. It's just like, hey, look at this cool thing. Because then you're not just going after the people who want to do the thing, which I think is quite a small number of people. You're actually trying to advertise it to people who just want to see the thing, which is a much bigger group of people. So you're trying to focus on making it entertaining rather than informative. And I think that's like, that is a direction I'd quite like to take this channel in. is much more having videos and streams that are about just having fun and making gaming more fun and showing you some cool stuff rather than it being about explaining how stuff works. Because it just doesn't, it's not a lot of fun explaining how stuff works sometimes. Especially with the Easter eggs. Like a lot of my videos and my thumbnails and my titles end up being so functional because I'm just like, oh, well, at some point someone's going to be searching for like how this particular Easter egg works, and I want to have the most accurate video. I want to have the most like the thing that's going to come up in the search results. And I do, I think, for a lot of them, but I have the problem that that's a very small number of people who are looking for that. That's a very small number. There's a very small number of people that even want to, like, say if you had, let's do some paint. Let's do some visual diagrams. You've got, there we go. Put the game screen on. Let's do a Venn diagram. Everyone likes a good Venn diagram. Say if you've got all the people who play Call of Duty. Play COD. Can I make that bigger, or is that... I don't know how paint works. Oh, there. So all the people that play COD, there. And then you've got the people who... Make this bigger. Like... Make this bigger. People who like secrets in games. Okay. So this is my understanding of the audience so far, okay? So you've got people who play Call of Duty. It's a big number of people, don't get me wrong. Millions of people. But the people who like seeing secrets in games, I think are more, because a lot of those are people who don't play games. I watch loads of videos about games that I don't even play. And I still like watching them. You know, you watch something like Gameranx or Outside Xbox or GameSpot or whatever, and they do a thing like the top 10 Easter eggs in games, and it's like, they do some cool stuff. Like, there's some really fun stuff. And it doesn't matter that, like, whether you play those games or not. So I'm already, like, with my guides, I'm already doing this bit. And then I'd think I've got, like, this bit. Oh, no. Oh my god. People who... There we go. Like, know about Warzone Easter eggs. Oh my god. Right. No. There we go. Easter eggs. And then, if I go another level down, we'll try Warzone Easter egg. And I need to make that bigger. So, this is how I think it works. Oh my god. Right, there we go. So this is how I think it works in my head, okay? So you've got this massive audience here who like there being secrets in games and videos about secrets in games. Then you've got the group of people who play Call of Duty. So already by pushing my guides as like, this is how you do the Easter eggs in Call of Duty, the secrets in Call of Duty, I'm already only getting this small part of the audience. And then within that, the people who are actually willing to, like, the people who know about it, then within that, the people who are willing to try them, the people who are willing to go into a game of Battle Royale and try these Warzone Easter eggs, or the people who are willing to even just have a group of people for the ones that need a group and stuff like that, is a tiny, tiny small audience. Now, I'm not saying that all of these people wouldn't watch a video about Warzone Easter eggs, like all of these people, because that's who I want to go after. That's the audience who I want to go after. They would, but the video needs to be pushed much more to being like, hey, look at this cool thing. And it doesn't need to be so obsessed with like the details. It doesn't need to be obsessed with like who's first to find it. It doesn't need to be a rush to find it at the beginning or any stuff like that. Like none of that stuff matters to them at all. Like you can make a video about Warzone 1 Easter eggs in Verdansk and it would probably do better than a video about the Ashiko Island Easter eggs. Because people have nostalgia for Verdansk, a few more people know about it, I guess. If you were like, hey, there was this cool thing you could do in Verdansk. If you did a thing about Bunker 11 now, you don't need to say who found it first. You don't need to say how to do it because it doesn't matter. You can't do it anymore. But you could just be like, hey, this was a cool thing. And I think that would do better. And I've always been focusing like so much. I've been focusing so much on this stupid group. Not stupid group, sorry, that's mean. But this group that's stupidly small is what I mean. Who just don't, they're not a very large group in the first place. And to be honest, a lot of them, a huge part of my audience, I would say, who come to watch every Easter egg video, by the time I make a video about it, they already know about it. Because they've seen somebody else make a video about it, or because other people make videos super quickly because they don't care about whether it's right or not. Or they've watched my live streams where we've been finding this stuff. So it's like a lot of the people who are watching the videos are watching them kind of, they already know what they are. I would assume with a lot of my Easter egg videos that maybe less than like 5% of people who watch those videos actually go on to do the Easter egg and use the guide and it's helpful to them. Which like is a tough pill to swallow. It's something I've been thinking about quite a lot over the last few days. It's just that like this small group, I'm working incredibly hard to try and impress them, this lot. Whereas if I made stuff that was much more about just showing people stuff, and I didn't care about whether you can repeat it yourselves or not, that would be a much bigger group of potential people who would be interested. As soon as I start saying, oh, you need to go into Ashiko Island with 4 people, and then you need to go to this location and answer this radio and do this, blah, blah, blah. Immediately, there's going to be a lot of people who are like, well, I'm not going to do that. I don't even play Warzone. They don't care. Because most people don't play Warzone. Most people don't play Call of Duty. A lot of people play Call of Duty, but most people don't. And I think with YouTube, it's a numbers game where you always want to be appealing to the most people. Like, when I think about the videos that I watch, as someone that plays basically every video game, lately a lot of the videos that I've watched about games have been for Star Citizen or Ready or Not. And it's like, I don't even play those games, but I like watching them and I like finding out about the stuff you can do in them. So I think, personally, refocusing my channel a little bit to being like less about guides and how to do stuff and much more about just having fun with them and showing the cool stuff, I think would be better. I think that would be a better way of doing it. Anyway, sorry, I'm just going to scroll back up and see a couple of chat things. SoCal said, Deceiving is fun. Yeah, I'm hoping that'll be cool. I'm hoping to check it out. Why So Salty said, what have I missed? I'm just talking about guides. Benchmark Boy said, people have just dropped that game because it's so bad. Definitely diversify. I mean, I've always wanted to diversify away from Call of Duty. It's been something that I've talked about literally since Black Ops Cold War came out. I've always been like, I don't want to just be a Warzone streamer. I don't want to just be a Call of Duty Zombie streamer or anything like that. Because of, like, when Black Ops Cold War came out, I think I saw firsthand, I got quite involved, with the zombies community. And I saw firsthand, a lot of these people hadn't had zombies maps that they really enjoyed for like a year. And then after that, like after Black Ops Cold War, and just sort of during Black Ops Cold War, there was a lot of stuff that people didn't really like. And it was like, they had nothing else to make content about. They had to go to like custom maps and they had to go to blah, blah, blah. And it's like they were struggling, you know. Like I know, obviously, some people like Mr. Waffle Waffles and Noah J and Dalek and stuff like that managed to keep going, but that's because they've got millions of subscribers. Smaller zombies creators, their communities just got smaller, and that was really tough. And with Warzone, I was just always a bit like, I don't just play Warzone. Like I've always played a lot of other games. It was only really when Caldera came out that I started playing a lot of Warzone. Before that, it was like I would stream it when I played it, but I would spend most of my time playing other games. So I've always kind of wanted to. But the big problem, and the thing that I think a lot of people who mean well and they give you advice as a streamer don't get, you see lots of people saying like, play what you want to play what you enjoy. You know, like to try other things stuff is like the money side of it. That, you know, like right now is a good example. I'm streaming on a Monday morning, same times I usually do. If I was streaming DMZ, I would probably have 4 times as many people watching. Probably. Maybe, you know, maybe just 3 times as many people watching. But it's like, that means that there's a lot less people to watch. That means less people to potentially get memberships, less people to potentially super chat. So I am making less money by doing stuff that isn't just Call of Duty. And same thing with my videos. You know, I can put out videos about Diablo and get 400 views, or I can put out videos about Call of Duty and get thousands of views. And it's like, one of those will help me to be able to pay my bills every month, and one of them will be more fun, but won't, like, pay the bills. And I think, you know, nearly every creator has that kind of problem of, what do you do? Do you play stuff that you want to play, or do you play stuff that's going to get you lots of views? I saw Lackey was playing The Forest, like, last night or the night before, and he was streaming The Forest to, like, I don't know, it was like 200 people or something, 300 people. And it's like, when he's streaming Call of Duty, he's getting like 2,000 people watching sometimes. And it's like, so he's making a decision to play something that he knows will get him less views and potentially even hurt his channel in terms of Call of Duty. Like if I decide that I want to go back to just being a Call of Duty channel, any subscribers I gain from not playing Call of Duty will hurt the performance of those videos, because the way YouTube works is it cares about click-through rate a lot. And if you've got lots of subscribers that aren't interested in your content, it will kill your videos. Like, not always, you know, sometimes one can sneak through, but a lot of the time, you know, if like, it's a problem that I had, that so many people like started following me because of the Warzone Easter eggs. Basically, whenever I did anything that wasn't an Easter egg video, I'd get like a terrible click-through rate. Because a lot of people only followed me, only subscribed because of that. And so slowly I moved away from just doing Easter egg videos. And that was good when I had some videos that was like, you know, I was talking about Call of Duty news and stuff like that that did quite well. But yeah, now it's kind of like I need to find something different. And the goal, I think, for most people who play video games and stream, the goal is to be able to play anything. The goal is to be able to be like, hey, you're coming here to watch the Geeky Pastimes show, and you're here to hear me talk about stuff and give my take on things and hear me ranting about stuff, like that thing. And then the games are like secondary. The games are just background noise to kind of, you know, contextualize stuff or whatever. Like that's the goal. But that's hard. Like selling yourself is a lot harder than selling a game. Like, you know, people already like Call of Duty. It's not hard to make people interested in Call of Duty. It's hard to make someone interested in you. But that's the goal. Sorry, carrying on. I really enjoy the content. It has community people in lobby with the creator. They produce hilarious moments. Yeah, hopefully this community night on Saturday will be good. I just hope we get enough people in. What's some good strategies for the Veteran Raid 1 main code room? The main code room on Veteran Raid 1. So many tier 3s. What do you mean the main code room? I don't really know, Fallout. Do you mean the bit where you're in the water? And you've got to defend after you've done all the codes? Like that defending bit? Because if so, it's just a matter of having all 3 people communicating about what's going on. So when they are about to run out of ammo, or they're about to, or there's a juggernaut on their side, everyone goes and helps quickly. Or when there's drones coming by, you call it out. I think communication's the biggest thing there. Like every time we failed on that section where you're in the water and you just got to defend for a while, it was because basically like something happened on one side and we didn't know about it. Like, you know, the person had run out of ammo and there's a swarm of drones coming, or the juggernaut was right there and they hadn't been able to kill them quickly enough. Like that was always the problem. Oh, I'm going to do some of the raids later today, so we'll see. I'd probably get traction with the older zombies Easter eggs. I don't care about the older zombies Easter eggs. I don't think they're good. Like my problem with zombies for my problem with Call of Duty Zombies for a long while is that the maps that I really like, I don't think are the maps that other people like very much. And a lot of the stuff that the sort of zombies community cares about is stuff that I honestly don't think is good. And like the zombie story and lore, I think is awful. And the the old hard Easter eggs, like ones that took days to solve and stuff like that. I don't think any of that is good or particularly fun. It's kind of interesting that it exists, but it's like a weird curiosity. And I think the Call of Duty Zombies community have created this weird situation where they intensely gatekeep all of the stuff because they all want to be like the best Call of Duty Zombies player, and they want to be in this like club of elite players, and they like it being like this small elite club. They don't want other people to get involved in it. And it's just a lot of really like toxic people involved with all of that side of it. And it's kind of pushed me out that like they don't see zombies the way I see it. Like to me, inherently, zombies is a very silly mode. Like that's all it is. Like zombies to me is not serious. It's not a big deal. It's not like important. It's not like well written or anything like that. It's just a very silly, like almost a mini game, it's like a silly little side thing. And I'm aware that like making content from that perspective seems like it's being insulting to those people, because a lot of those people have it as like their identity is that they are a Call of Duty Zombies fan. Like that's their main thing in their life, is doing that. And it's like, so me making zombies content just doesn't seem like a right thing. Like, yeah, I didn't enjoy when I got really involved in the Call of Duty Zombies thing for a little bit when I was playing with Noah and Pizza and those people. I liked them. Like a lot of the creators are really cool, but the community around it is just like the worst part of the Call of Duty community in my mind. Like it's just every comment, every viewer is doing it from the perspective of, I know more than you, so I'm going to tell you how you should be doing this, and if you're doing it wrong, you're an idiot, and I'm going to be like super toxic about it. And like the Call of Duty story, the zombie story is the best piece of fiction in the world, and if you don't think it's good, then you just don't understand it properly. And it's a crying shame that Call of Duty Zombies isn't like the main mode in Call of Duty, because it's actually like the biggest, most popular thing in the world. And it's like, if you sort of diverge from that at all, like they're not friendly. They're not friendly about it at all. It's weird. Like I was looking the other day, actually, back at my Twitter DMs, because my Twitter DMs were being super odd, and I couldn't find a conversation. So I was like scrolling back through, and the sort of year or so while Black Ops Cold War was out, that I was really involved in zombies, I had so many DMs from people, and it was all drama. It was all like, this person said such and such about you. This person said such and such about you. Have you seen this person's made this video where they call you out for this? Blah, blah. There was like so much of it. And then all the time before I got involved with zombies, none of it. And all of the time since then, none of it. And it was like just that period. It was like, oh, it was the worst. It's just, I can't stand that. So like if they do zombies with like Treyarch's next game, then cool. Like I'll play it and I'll have some fun with it. But I'll probably play it with like Flynn and Scotto or something like that, and I won't take it seriously, and I'll just mess around. Or I'll play it with Jack. Like that would be much more fun to me. I don't care about like being a part of the zombies community, if you see what I mean. It was bad. Anyway, sorry, going back on. I don't think most players will try Easter eggs unless there's some crazy advantage on completion. Yeah, I mean that's something that I kind of understand in Call of Duty and in gaming in general. I think it's wrong. I think it's a bad way to look at games, but there's lots of people that won't do something unless the reward is good. People have got into this weird mindset with gaming, and it's not just Call of Duty for sure. It's like a lot of games where they are willing to do very boring things if there's a reward that they think is good or exclusive in some way, and they aren't willing to do fun things if there isn't a reward. So it's like the time they actually spend playing the game, they don't care about how much fun they're having. But like all they care about is getting stuff at the end of it. And I find that utterly bizarre. And I've always found that a bit bizarre. Like, I've always found that a bit weird. Like, you know, back in the days of World of Warcraft, when people would be like, oh, you need to do this, like, you need to do this raid 40 times to have a decent chance of getting this sword or whatever. And people would do it. People would literally spend like 100 hours grinding something to try and get some sword. And then it would just go in their big pile of other swords, or it would make their character like, you know, 0.5% stronger or whatever. And like I've fallen into that trap before because games are really, really good at like convincing you that something is worthwhile when it nearly always isn't. And it's like, you know, I like I said, I've fallen into it, but when you see it in other people, it's always like, oh, that's stupid. Like, why would you do that? With the Easter eggs in Warzone, I'd much rather that the Easter eggs were fun. I don't really care about the reward. It's like the zombies Easter eggs. Most of the zombies Easter eggs, you don't get anything really for doing them. You just do them because the actual act of doing them is kind of fun. And I think that's, you know, true of the Ashika Island ones. None of the Ashika Island ones have very good rewards, but the actual doing them is quite fun. I quite enjoy doing that. But as soon as I say in a video, like, oh, there's no blueprint for doing this, people are like, no, I don't care. I'm not going to do it then. It's like, I think because so much of gaming is set up around getting a reward at the end, people are like, well, I've got limited time to play. Whenever I'm playing, I should be doing something that progresses me to getting a reward. So whether that's, you know, getting weapon camos or unlocking new blueprints or whatever, people are so like hardwired in to be like, this is what we should do to get it. And yeah, I think that's bad because gaming should be about creating experiences that are fun, not grinds. You know, like grinding is always a bad thing. It's weird because I've just been playing a lot of Diablo over the weekend because obviously it's been the open beta. It finishes today. And I was playing a lot of Diablo, and a lot of the time you kind of have a end goal in mind. Like for me, I was trying to get every character to level 25, but then I spent quite a lot of time with the Necromancer trying to get a specific legendary. So I was doing some quite repetitive things where I was like going to dungeons and stuff like that, doing stuff again and again to try and get it. But I was having fun, and as soon as I stopped having fun doing that process, I stopped looking for... I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to get it. I don't care. I'm not having fun anymore. I'll switch to doing something else, you know, switch to leveling my druid or whatever. And then weirdly, then I ended up getting it, which was very, very fortunate for me. But it was, yeah, a strange kind of mindset where I know some people would just keep on going. And you see, the same thing in Destiny. Like with Destiny, I'm in a clan now where we did the raid together and stuff like that. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing the raid. That was fun. And then every week now, it's the seasonal stuff. So I'm like, I will do the story mission every week and see the next bit of the story. And then there's some people that are like every week are doing like their free Crucible matches, their free Vanguard strikes or Nightfalls or whatever, their Trials of Eternity, Dares of Eternity matches, their Gambit matches stuff. And they don't like doing Gambit or Crucible or the Vanguard strikes and stuff, but they do it because that's what they have to do to stay at the very top of like, okay, they're going to have the highest number. You know, their number's going to be 1830 instead of like mine's like 1815 or whatever. And it's like, and nowadays, like the number doesn't really even matter because so much stuff is like set to a certain level. It doesn't matter whether it's that high. But like they've just got it in their head that like they need to make sure they've got everything like super high up. And then like I caught myself the other weekend. I saw Paul Tassi, who writes about video games for Forbes, but he does a lot of Destiny stuff. He'd posted that there was this SMG that you could get by doing Iron Banner, and it was really good. And I was like, okay, I should play it and like try and get this SMG and try and get this certain role in it. And I found myself playing Iron Banner, a mode that I don't particularly like, for bloody hours, thinking like, oh, it'll be worth it when I get this SMG. But then I was like, I've got a million guns in Destiny that I don't use. Like, is this SMG really going to do anything? What am I going to do with that SMG that's going to make all of this time worth it? And it's such a stupid, arbitrary thing that the developers have put in. It's like, oh, this is a random drop, so you're going to have to play this for dozens of hours to get the thing you want. And it's like, this is stupid. This is dumb. Yeah, targeting the completionists. I'm just like, I need to like force my brain to detach from it and be like, I don't actually care about this. Like, think back of games where you've spent lots of time trying to unlock something. How often was that unlock worth it? Like, I did Dark Orion in Black Ops Cold War. I did that camo, so I spent hours and hours and hours grinding every single gun, getting loads of kills against zombies. I wasn't enjoying it. There wasn't any challenge in it. Just doing the same thing over and over again, running around in circles with zombies behind me, shooting them in the head for absolutely ages. Then eventually I got the Dark Orion camo. Didn't matter. You know, sometimes I could use it in games and people would be like, oh, that's that cool camo. And I was like, yep. And that was it. That was literally it. Just didn't matter. Didn't matter at all. I regretted doing that camo so much. It just was stupid. So carrying on with going back to chat. You do what you do to enjoy community here, support that. I appreciate that, Salty, and I do love it when you lot turn out to support me doing something different. It's just numbers. It's just numbers. You need to do stuff that lots of people enjoy. I'm hoping you lot will watch this and enjoy it and then keep coming back every time I do it. And maybe I'll do this once a week. Maybe I'll do it every Monday. Maybe I'll start doing this every other day. Maybe I'll start doing it on like Monday, Wednesday, Friday or something. Just depends how we do reviews. But I'm hoping a lot of you will come back to watch it. Appreciate it. I did forget to put, like, I put this as private because I made this event like a week ago when I did the last one. And then I was like, I forgot. I left it until private until like 5 minutes before I went live. So I didn't really give people a chance to be like, you know, to look forward to episode 2 of it. So we'll see. But yeah. I've been thinking about how many streamers who blew up. Affa said, I've been thinking about how many streamers who blew up because of the lockdown on Warzone 1 but are now struggling. Yeah, for sure. Like, it's super interesting. I'll show you some stuff, actually. Let's see if I can show you stuff without doxing myself. Annoyingly, I can't do that. There we go. Content. Advanced mode. Here we go. When did Warzone come out? Was that like March of 2020, wasn't it? And then views by content. Oh, and I've got views by content. I don't want that overview. Okay, I don't know how to make this work properly. I was hoping I could make it work, but I cannot. Oh, there we go. So yeah, I can show you this. So this is my YouTube views over time since Warzone 1 came out. Okay. So you can actually see. Oh no, you can actually see. You can see some stuff about how much money I make. Ignore that, can you? Can I hide metric? There we go. Cool. So yeah, you can see how many views I've had each month. This is each month over time since Warzone's come out. And this is you know, rough, like looking at it sometimes, because it's like, okay, so I had the peak. That's what actually kicked me off starting to look. Like Warzone 1 came out, we had the Bunker 11 videos, we had the Stadium videos, we had City Hall. All of those things happened then. And I was getting like, in a month, I could get like 160,000 views, 266. And there were like drops, like in the summer, 81,000, but it was like generally going kind of up. And then it got up to a peak in December of that year, up to 300,000 views. And I think that was when the Rebirth Island Easter egg came out. So the Rebirth Island Easter egg came out. I was like one of the few people with our like community who managed to work it out and everything like that. And we had Porn Takes Porn. So we had like Porn Takes Porn stuff happening like across that summer. So like, that people started knowing who I was. And then the Rebirth Island Easter egg came out in December, just after Porn Takes Porn finished. And suddenly it was like, oh, my guides were doing really well. And still to this day, some of those guides and stuff are some of the better videos I've done. Not actually in the top set, but it's like pretty good. And then it was like, and then after that, we had the year of Black Ops Cold War, where I did zombies content and there were no Easter eggs, like no Easter eggs at all. And you can see here how much that dropped. So it went down to the point where March 2021, a year after Warzone came out, I only had 27,000 views. Whereas a couple of months before, I was on 300,000 views. So it dropped down 90%, more than 90%, which was, you know, hard. It was rough. And then you can see here, it's like started building up again. And this is kind of me starting to pay a little bit more attention. And I think this is like when I started streaming on YouTube and I went full time. So I quit my job in like June of 2021 and I was getting like 57,000 views a month. And then it went down a little bit from then, which is embarrassing. But then it went up and, you know, we started doing a little bit better and we started having like, I don't know what happened in August 2021, whether there was another, whether there was an, I suppose like the build up towards Vanguard and stuff like that. And like it was, you know, went up a little bit, went down, and then it was the release of Vanguard, so it went up a little bit, and then people didn't like Vanguard so much, and it started dropping off, and I didn't really know what I was doing with my content around there. And then Warzone 2 comes out. Look at this. I go up to like nearly getting 1 million views in a month, which is insane for me. 966,000 views in a month. And I was like, oh my God, it's amazing. At this point, in like November, October time, I was literally like, especially here in August, I was applying for other jobs. I was doing a course on web development, like, because I was just like, oh, okay, I can't make money as a content creator. Like, can't do it. Needs to, like, find other things to do, find other ways to make money. So I'll keep on streaming and stuff like that while I search for other stuff. And then all of the DMZ stuff happened and Warzone 2 and all of that. And you can see my views went up like insanely high. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. I actually, for the first month in December, I think that was the only month I've ever made more money doing this than I did when I was teaching. And I was like, this is amazing. I've made it. Like everything's going to be great from now on. And then January had about half as many views. Lost about half of that. Then last month, February, 393,000. Not quite half, but losing another 100,000. Then this month, 273,000. So now it's going like straight back down to where it was. Now, hopefully, it'll sort of balance out to being a bit higher than it was. Like, hopefully, it will end up being a bit better. So if I look at weekly, you can see in a bit more detail, like how much I had a spike there. But then you see it's like going down. Hopefully, it'll settle off to being higher than it was there, just because I have more videos now and stuff like that, more subscribers. But this number needs to be much, 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 much higher. And you know, that's tough. That's tough to deal with. That like there was that big spike and then it dropped off so much. So it's like always about thinking about how you're going to try and capture something like that again, or at least try and do something that's more sustainable. And I think the sustainability thing. Oh, and this is like how many new subscribers I had, I think. This is like how many new subscribers I had each time. And it's like I've had like spikes where nearly got like 3,000 new subscribers in a week then, but now it's going back down to now I get like 100 subscribers in a week. For a while, I was even losing some subscribers some weeks, like I lost 38 there, which sucks. But yeah, so it's all about like trying to think of what I can do that's more sustainable, that will lead to sustainable growth rather than the spikes. And I think a lot of what I've been doing, what I was talking about earlier today, about chasing new Easter eggs or chasing Call of Duty news and stuff like that, I'm always going to be beholden to whether Call of Duty is interesting or not, whether they have Easter eggs, whether they do something interesting in the news. And if they don't, my views are gone. And if they do, I'll get crazy spikes where I make a bunch of money, and then it'll just die off completely. This, by the way, this spikiness that I was showing you, that's kind of why I'm always pushing people to become members of the channel, because it's like members tend to follow you through, and it's like means that you have a steady income rather than having the advertising revenue, which spikes all over the place. It's really nice to have like a steady, like income coming in. That's why it's always better. Years ago, I tried doing like Patreon, because I was like, oh, that would be awesome having Patreon, where it didn't matter whether I was on YouTube, whether I was on Twitch, whether I was making videos or streaming or whatever it was, like people would just support me for me. But it just never worked. I never got more than like 5 patrons. Like, I think like trying to get people to use a different platform for support is super hard. It's super difficult. And you know, and I have been hurt a little bit by like, I used to stream a lot on Twitch and now I don't stream much on Twitch. So I've gone from making like £400 a month on Twitch to making like £40 a month on Twitch. And stuff like that. And it's like, was that a mistake? Should I have stayed on Twitch and kept trying to grow on Twitch? Was coming over to YouTube for everything a bad idea? Like, who bloody knows? It's very, very difficult, very confusing. Sorry, carrying on with chat a little bit. You always late to play the latest games, so for me it's gold watching other people play them to see if the game's you. Yeah, I mean, I love playing new games, and that's not something that's happened since I've been a streamer. I've always been someone who's like, my favorite category of gaming is new games. I love new games. Like, I love games where like they're in the zeitgeist. People are like talking about them. People are posting articles about them, making videos about them. I love playing new things, but it's quite hard to build a community up. You know, if I'm like all in on Call of Duty because like Warzone 2 was new, and then I'm all in on Diablo because like Diablo's new, and then I'll be like all in on Starfield because that's new. Like that's difficult because then you end up like getting a load of Diablo fans watching you and then they stop watching, get a load of Call of Duty fans watching and they stop watching, a load of Starfield fans watching and they stop watching. It's really difficult to do stuff like that. So it'd be much better to just kind of, I think, not be like a Diablo streamer or a Call of Duty streamer or a whatever, but just be a video game streamer. And then people come to check out what I'm playing, to check out what I think of stuff. That's cool. Why so Salty said, I used to stream myself and found the game was secondary to an extent if the gameplay was enjoyable and the banter's entertaining. I used to play Division PvE and PvP and also Assassin's Creed. God of War with equal watch figures. It was your interaction and banter that kept it growing. Yeah, I mean, and it's true to an extent. Like, I've gone from, over the last few years, I've gone from, you know, when I started streaming, I'd have like 3 viewers on Twitch, and they didn't care what I was playing. I'd always have 3 viewers. And then, because, you know, it's like probably me checking the stream, my sister-in-law watching while she was working from home, and then one other random person. And then it went up to the point where over time I had like 20 viewers, and they would kind of watch whatever I was doing. And then it kind of, the specific stuff blew up a bit. So on Twitch, I would have like 80 people watching if I was playing Call of Duty, but it'd go back to that 20 if I was playing anything else. And it's still kind of the same where, you know, on YouTube now, it's like if I play DMZ, I could get 100, 200 people watching. And if I play anything else, I might get 20 people watching, 30 people watching. And that's, you know, that's tough. Because it's like, those 20 or 30 people, you lot essentially, are kind of the core. The people who are here because you want to hear me talking about stuff, or you find me talking entertaining. But growing that audience is much, much harder than growing a game-specific audience. It's much, much harder. Because, like, think about, like, no one's going to be searching for Geeky Pastimes talks about blah, blah, blah. Like, no one's searching for, like, middle-aged white man shares his opinions. Like, that's not something people are searching for. So discoverability is very hard when you're doing something like that. Discoverability when you're like, new Call of Duty secret found is very easy. Like, that's an easy thing to get found doing. So it's rough. It's tough. And, you know, it's about, on Twitch, it's always been a problem that, like, you don't get discovered on Twitch, essentially, unless it's by another streamer, you know, a streamer raiding you or streamers talking about you and stuff. And I've always been lucky with that, like, other streamers do talk about me. You know, like, a lot of people who are here because they heard people talking about me, you know, whether it's Ink Slasher or Westy, sorry, I need to sneeze, or Jack Frags or, you know, Lackey or Broken or whoever, or you saw me playing in their games. There we go. Better out than him. So, to do, like Darkest Shore, a rock on top of a hill had to be shot, but you would never know it was there. Yeah, I hate that sort of Easter egg stuff, Ricardo. It's rubbish. Some like Easter eggs being Easter eggs, you do Easter eggs for rewards. If there's no good reward, you don't care. Yeah, I mean, that's a way a lot of people think. And it's like, obviously, they've decided for whatever reason not to do good rewards for Easter eggs anymore. And I don't know why. So, still doing it. Perfect example is the Division 2. New Manhunt is the same content for the last 3 years for a terrible reward, and yet people are still doing it. Yeah, like when a game's actually fun, people do it because the game's fun. I think people do that in like, you know, Grand Theft Auto Online and Minecraft and stuff like that. A lot of people keep on doing those. I always find it interesting when you look at mods for games that kick off, because there's almost intrinsically no reward for playing them. Like Grand Theft Auto role-playing mode, or Minecraft with all of the various modded things, or Roblox or whatever. Like, as soon as people are doing something where it's like, obviously there's no reward because it's not an official thing, then that's probably a sign that that thing's actually fun in itself, and that's a good idea, I think. You think Xbox achievements, example, ruin the games for you, trying to get achievements rather than just enjoying it? Yeah, my wife was doing that the other day with Hogwarts Legacy. Like, we both finished it, but then she was playing it more to try and like get all the achievements. But then some of the achievements are just stupid and take ages. And she went from really liking the game to kind of hating the game just because she was like having to engage with like the dull side of it, the repetition and the grindiness of it. Rather than, you know, I just flew through the main story and had a good time and stopped playing. And I think like that's probably a better way to play that game. I think there's a weird thing in open world games, especially where, and actually all games probably, but open world games especially, where people feel the need to milk it for all of the content it has. You know, people want to see everything. People want to experience everything. They want to have every gun. They want to have been to every place. They want to have heard every line of dialogue. And it's like when you do that, you stop seeing the game as like an immersive world, and instead you're seeing it as the way it really is. Again, we talked about this last episode. Like, you know, you're seeing past the magic and you're just seeing like the way it's constructed, and you're trying to deconstruct it to consume all of the content. And it's like, that kind of kills the fun. I mean, I'm sure there's some people who have a lot of fun doing that, but for me, it's kind of, I would rather just be lost in that world. A good example of that is like the Bethesda games, like Skyrim and Fallout. My wife was like, her favorite game was Fallout 3 for a long time. I don't know, it might still be. And she was horrified. We played it before we got together. And she was horrified when I told her, like, oh yeah, I've barely seen anything in Fallout 3 because I pretty much did the main story. I did like some of the Megaton stuff, and I pretty much just played the main story. I just played it through. And she would like talk about things she loved in Fallout 3, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I never went there. I never saw that. And she was like horrified by that. And I used to be like, oh, I played Fallout 3 wrong. But then the more I think about it, it's like, no, I had my adventure in Fallout and I liked it and it was my adventure. And it's cool hearing about other stuff that other people got to do. But I don't feel the need to have done everything in that game. And same with Skyrim. There's loads of stuff in Skyrim that I've never seen, that I've never done. But I loved Skyrim. I really enjoyed playing through it. I thought it was awesome. But I don't feel the need to go back and like engineer stuff so I get to see every little thing. I'm quite happy just kind of having my experience. And like, you know, for a more modern example, when I played Diablo 3 over the weekend, I wanted to get every character up to level 25 because I wanted to play as every character. But I, at no point did I like look up a guide on like how to find every Lilith statue, where's every dungeon. I never tried to do any of that stuff because it's like I more enjoy exploring the world. I more enjoyed stumbling across stuff and finding new stuff, and that was fun. And as soon as I picked up a guide and started doing that to look for it, I think that would have killed the enjoyment for me. It's just like a different way of playing games, I guess. You like it when you learn Bunker 11 learning Russian with the phones. I wish they'd done more stuff like that with the Warzone Easter eggs, where it was like you had to sort of engage with something outside of the game to be able to do it. I think that was cool. Like, and we had a bit of that with Pawn Takes Pawn, where we were like learning other ciphers and other ways of doing stuff. That was fun. And like learning about Zork, you know, how to play Zork. It doesn't really matter what you're learning, but just learning something outside was kind of fun. Ease that takes some brain usage is more cool than Easter eggs just looking for stuff with no meaning, like Warzone with the phones, Battlefield with the Morse code lights, and the Phantom. Yeah, Fogger, I definitely think like having puzzles and Easter eggs is a good thing. I know it's... I think it's difficult for them because they know full well that not many people are going to do Easter eggs at all. You know, going back to my diagram, my helpful diagram, lots of people won't ever know about the Warzone Easter eggs and stuff. And then even less people are going to try them. And then if you're putting some barrier where you've got to work something out, not only have you got to make sure it works in all of the different localized languages, you know, to kind of be fair, and ideally you want to make it accessible to people, so you got to think about things like color blindness or people who are hard of hearing or people, you know, whatever else is going on. Then you've got like whatever you're doing, you're narrowing down the number of people who can do it. I'd love to see numbers on how many people have done each Easter egg. I would absolutely love to see, like, if you took the number of people playing Warzone when Bunker 11 was available, what percentage of people actually did the Easter egg and got into Bunker 11? Like, in my head, I think, I mean, I'm almost certain it'd be less than 1%. I reckon it's probably orders of magnitude smaller than that. I wouldn't be that surprised if there were less than 10,000 people in the world who have ever done Bunker 11 Easter egg, who have actually done it themselves. So, like, they have listened to the phone calls, understood what the numbers mean, gone and interacted with all the phones, and then gone into Bunker 11 and got Mud Jawber. I'm almost certain. And I think that entirely explains why we never got another Easter egg like that. Like, why that didn't happen again. I reckon Bunker 11, the Stadium Easter egg, and the City Hall Easter egg were probably created at roughly the same time, like, or at least very close to each other. And, you know, just released slowly. And I think the engagement with them was shockingly low, like insanely low. And they just stopped doing them, basically. Because all of the ones we've had since then have been different studios. Like, I don't think we ever had other ones that we know for sure were Infinity Ward. I'm not even sure if have we even had ones that were Raven? Because Rebirth Island was Beanox, and then Fortune's Keep and Ashika Island have both been High Moon Studios. There was the Lion's Cane thing, the Cane one, that was, I would say, probably the worst Easter egg. I think that was Raven. But, like, that's pretty shocking, isn't it? If, like, Infinity Ward and Raven have never really made an Easter egg since the first three. But I think it's just, you know, what's the point of putting something in the game? When you think of how much there is to do in Call of Duty, like, imagine their to-do list in their offices at, like, Raven or Infinity Ward or whoever. Imagine how much stuff they have to deal with, like, all of the bugs, all of the, like, providing new content so they have something to release every month, making sure all of the future stuff works, doing all of, like, the license stuff, trying to make all the different playlists work, adding new features and new guns and blah, 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 all that stuff. Imagine, and you know, I would assume, I don't know anything, but I would assume Infinity Ward and probably Raven are probably working on, like, whatever's next, like the next Warzone. There's at least some people working on that, I'd imagine. And it's like all of that stuff. And then imagine someone comes up to you and is like, hey, you should work on, like, these Easter eggs that, you know, 10,000 people are going to be affected by it ever. They're the only people that are going to see it. They'd be like, it's not really a priority. Like, get pushed down. I know Jack Frag said before that with DICE, it was because obviously he speaks to those developers, so that, like, it was stuff they literally did in their free time. Like, it wasn't stuff that was, like, part of their job, essentially. It was just fun stuff they added in as, like, a passion project. And it's like, I imagine the Call of Duty developers probably don't have the energy or willpower to do stuff like that, especially with how toxic the community is. Like, why would they? Even the Easter egg community, people are horrific to the developers a lot of the time. Like, whenever you see, if you go on Twitter and you see a time where I've interacted with one of the Call of Duty accounts and, like, they've replied to me, the replies will be loads of people just bitching at them, just complaining about stuff. Whenever they talk to the public, that just seems to be what it is. Even when I've been in creator calls with people then where they've done question and answer sessions, I've only been in, like, 2 or 3 of those. I think 3, where, you know, we've had a special call. We have, like, you know, have it on Microsoft Teams or something like that. And there's a bunch of creators in there, and then there's a bunch of the developers and the community managers, and they do a presentation about, like, the next season or whatever. And then they say, at the end, they have a question and answer thing. Nearly every time, there's 1 or 2 creators that is trying to be respectful, but I think maybe because they're quite young, a lot of them, they don't really get how they're coming across. But essentially, they're just telling them how to do their jobs. They're like saying like, you should do this, you should do that. Like the community needs this, blah blah blah. And it's like there's this really kind of disrespectful tone of just them like backseat developing, basically being like, hey, like no, like it's not a question answer about. Obviously, the question answer sessions are meant to be ask any questions to clarify things about the presentation. But instead, they're just like, you need to like add slide canceling back in, or you need to talk to us about skill-based matchmaking or whatever. And it's like, oh, bloody hell. So yeah, I imagine like the developers aren't massively inclined to create new Easter eggs and stuff. So carrying on to do. Too Nice said, sorry, I'm a little bit behind on chat sometimes. Too Nice said, just started with YouTube. Do you have a hint for you? How many videos should you upload per week? As many good ones as you can make. Like, it depends what you're making. I've seen some people who have asked me for advice about YouTube where they talk about like, oh, I've made a YouTube channel and I'm like trying to do stuff. And all they're uploading is clips of gameplay. Like literally all they're uploading is like they've done something in Call of Duty multiplayer or Warzone that they think was cool, like they got some kills or whatever, and they put it together into like a montage video, and then they upload it, and then they're like, why aren't I getting any views? And it's like, who's looking for that? Like you can see Call of Duty montage videos that do really well because they're of like Swag or Symphony or Tim the Tap Man or someone like that. It's because people want to see like the cool bits that those already famous creators did. The creators didn't get famous by doing this. And it's like, if you're doing like low effort content like that, it doesn't matter how many videos you put out, they're never going to do well. I'd be shocked if they ever did well. You know, you'd have to be super lucky and just get noticed by someone who then shares it with 1 million followers to get noticed for stuff like that. If you're doing stuff that's like interesting and like thoughtful and like actually serving a niche, so you know my videos often it's like, hey, this is how you do this thing, or this is, you know, my take on this aspect of the game or whatever, then it's like do as many as you can. Like, you know, do one a day. I wouldn't bother doing more than one a day personally. And I think like if you're doing more than one a day, they're probably not that good, but one a day is probably fine. And you know, and give yourself time off as well, because like I've fallen into that sort of thing repeatedly of just being like, oh, I need to constantly be making content. I'm always thinking about it. If I'm not streaming, then I'm making videos, or I'm recording footage for videos, or I'm on Twitter, or I'm sending emails and stuff. And it's like literally doing it like all the time I'm awake, like constantly. And that's super bad. You end up like hating it. You end up not caring at all. It'd be much better to do like with streaming. I saw someone post the other day, someone who, you know, is relatively successful, you know, someone who's doing well for themselves, but they said something like they're going to commit to doing 5 10-hour streams a week. And that just seemed insane to me. 5 10-hour streams. Like, that's a 50 hours just of streaming. And then if you're doing any of the social media stuff or you're doing any videos on top of that, that's an insane amount of work. And it's like, you've got to think like, what's that doing for you? Like, what are you getting out of those streams? And I mean, this is something that I've struggled with for months now, is that nearly all of my money from doing YouTube and stuff comes from ad revenue on videos. And the streams sometimes get me a couple of subscribers. And, you know, occasionally I'll get like, you know, James Phillips here who just said good morning. Occasionally James Phillips will give me a super chat, which is super kind, or, you know, like people become members, you know, Fogger, Versatility, people like that have been members for ages, which is super generous. Like there's stuff like that happens sometimes, but I can easily stream for like 7 hours and not make a penny. Like, and that happens fairly regularly. I would say like probably 50% of my streams, I don't make any money from them at all. And it's like, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing that? Why am I spending so much time? That's kind of why I'm like thinking of just cutting back streams. I like doing these kind of things, and I'm kind of keen on doing more videos like this, more streams like this, where, you know, for 2-3 hours I talk to you and maybe we'll play some little bits and stuff like that. But when I was streaming like DMZ to 200 people for 7 hours a day every day, it was like I was not getting much out of that, really. Even the idea of like growing a community, I was only growing a DMZ community of people who wanted to watch me stream 7 hours a day for free. And it's like, that's not doing a lot for me. Like, trying to find an audience that is like, I don't know what the word is. Hey, too nice. Thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it. There you go. You've made this stream worth it. I've got £2.50. Trying to make an audience that is like essentially lucrative. Like, it sounds really harsh to say. I can't think of a better way of saying it. You want, if you're building a community, you want to build a community that will sustain you. And that means either people that will watch all of your videos through whatever your videos are about and like boost them that way, so then you get more ad revenue, better click-through rate and stuff like that. Those people you want. You want people who do super chats and stuff, because obviously it's just getting money. And you want people who become members, because that's getting money. And then it's also nice if you have people who have access to other communities and are likely to share your content with other people and stuff like that. That's good too. You know, that will provide some value. But having hundreds of people who don't chat, hundreds of people who they're not going to become a member, they're not going to watch all of your videos, they're not going to do stuff. A lot of the people, you know, there was someone the other day when I was streaming who was talking about having ad blocker on, and it was like, what am I getting out of this? There's a very strange idea that some people have that streamers should be doing it just for the pleasure of performing. And like, I don't think that's right. I don't see it like that. And I'm sorry if people don't like that. I understand if people are like, oh, this guy's all about the money, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I have bills to pay. Like, I want to do this in a way where I get to talk about games and build a community, but also make money. And like, that's a difficult thing. Ultracart said, why don't you whack ads on your live streams, even one just at the start? So the ad thing's difficult, Ultracart. I don't actually know. Do I have ads on this live stream? Are there ads in this one? YouTube's been a bit weird about it lately. Monetization. Oh yeah, so it's right now it's automatically placing ads. That's actually kind of a new thing, the automatic ads on YouTube. I can turn those off, and I only turned them on like a week ago or two, and I've already had a couple of people being like, "Oh, I don't have ads, and I don't have ads in a live stream. I'm leaving." And again, it was someone who wasn't a member, had never super chatted or anything. Man, Fogger, that's insane. That is super kind of you. Thank you very much, Fogger. That super chat's like 40 quid. Thank you so much, Fogger. That is incredibly generous of you. That's
Perhaps this makes the day going
You've turned this into a positive day. Thank you. Yeah, like the ads. Yeah, someone was saying that, you know, I don't want to see ads in here, so I'm going to leave. And it's like, but they weren't members. They weren't people who super chatted. They were just watching. And then they were complaining that they were having to watch adverts. But it's like, but if they just left, what difference does that make to me other than the number of viewers? Like, I don't know. It's really hard to say any of this without sounding like a horrible person. But you want to make money. And people watching ads makes you a tiny bit of money. People super chatting is very generous of them and makes quite a lot of money. People being members is incredibly generous and means constant income. If I got to the point where I had 1,000 members in YouTube, I would be sorted. Like, I could just carry on making whatever content, not caring whether anyone did anything, not caring about ad revenue, not having to look for sponsorships and stuff like that. And that would be amazing. But until I get there, you know, if I ever get there, I need to do other stuff, you know, encouraging people to do other stuff. But yeah, the ads in YouTube are a bit strange. I don't know why they work for some people and other people they don't work for. I don't know. I've got them on at the moment because I think they're not too obtrusive, especially because I keep everything up as a VOD. So if you miss something, you can always just rewind it because it's not Twitch. You know, I hate it in Twitch when you're watching a stream and you get like 5 minutes of adverts and then you've missed like the end of a game, which has happened to me repeatedly while trying to watch like Benny and Jaff. And it's like, that's super frustrating. I know I should just subscribe, but it's like, you can only have so many subscriptions. I can only afford so many. But like, yeah, that's a rough thing. But at least with YouTube, you can rewind it if you miss something and then just watch on like 1.5 speed or something to catch up. But I need to make money somehow. Anyway, we've gone through all of that, and I've forgotten. Originally I came in with an agenda of things I was going to talk about. I wanted to talk about Redfall, my impressions from that, because I got to play it, and, you know, super happy about that, and I put out a video. Video didn't do that well, but I thought people, if anyone has any questions about Redfall, happy to answer that. And I also wanted to talk about Kick. I mentioned it earlier, and someone was like, no, not Kick. So, Kick's another thing where I'm interested to see what people think about this. I talked about this a bit on Twitter the other day, that I haven't made my mind up about Kick yet. So Kick, for anyone who doesn't know, is a streaming platform, a new streaming platform. And they are currently doing the thing that a lot of streaming platforms do, which is doing stuff that must be at a loss. Sorry, I just got a load of messages for some reason. Google just sent me like 5 messages. They're doing a lot of stuff to try and encourage people to stream on them. Loads of stuff. And so they are giving you a 95% revenue split, which means if someone subs for £5, you get like £4, what is that, £4.80 or something from it, which is crazy good, like insanely good money. And then also doing stuff like, they send me emails saying like, hey, if you come over and stream on Kick, we'll put you on front page, like we'll promote you and stuff like that. Sounds good, could be cool. But the problem with Kick is that its main investor is a guy who's in charge of another website called Stake, which is like a online gambling, crypto kind of thing, like, you know, that world. And I'm inherently quite against online gambling. I vaguely understand why some people don't mind it, but to me, I've always looked at gambling as like, it's a way of exploiting poor people. Like, gambling, you know, this is getting into sort of like economic philosophy, but in my mind, money is something that you spend in exchange for work. Like, that's essentially what it comes down to. So like, Fogger just then giving me like 40 quid is him saying, I value the entertainment you've provided to this amount of money. Please take my money in exchange for it. The money that he has worked for to earn, he has now given some of that money to me for the work I have done that he has appreciated. And essentially all transactions work like that to me. You know, you get given a wage for how many hours you work at a place, or people buy something off you, or people pay you for a service. Whatever it is, money and work are kind of linked. And gambling is like, hey, what if you could get the money without doing the work? What if you could just get more money but not do more work? And that's obviously appealing to everybody. You know, if someone came along to me and said, hey, I've never watched you before, but I'm going to super chat you £1 million, I'd be like, yes, please, I never want to have to work again in my life. Like, obviously you'd say yes. Obviously you would want to do that. But that's not likely to happen. Like, that would be very, very unlikely that a millionaire is going to come along and just like fix your life. But gambling is a way of giving people hope that they see as like impersonal. You don't need to impress someone to win at gambling. You just have to be lucky. And everyone inherently believes that they're lucky. You know, no one believes they're going to die in a car accident. No one believes they're going to get cancer. No one believes they're going to be the victim of a crime. They always think they're going to be the lucky ones. It's going to happen to someone else. It's like the human condition. You'd go mad if you lived any other way. Everyone inherently believes that they are lucky. And gambling companies play on that because they know you're not lucky enough. they know that you're not lucky enough to make money from them. That in the end, you're going to lose money to them. And it doesn't matter that occasionally someone will win, like, because the odds are always in, the odds are always in the house's favor. Like, casino's always going to make more money. But they can manipulate your feeling of, like, you're the main character in your story, you're the lucky one, into making you think that that's like you're not going to be the one that loses everything. You're not going to be the one that loses out. Like, you're probably going to win. Like, when people buy a lottery ticket, when people go to a casino and bet money on a roulette table, or people go to a poker match, or people bet on a horse or a football match or anything, they think they're going to win. Otherwise, they wouldn't put the money up. They think that there's a better chance than there really is that they're going to win. People buy a lottery ticket and I don't think many people think, oh, there's a 1 in 47 million chance I'm going to win. They think there's like a 1 in 10 chance that they're going to win or something like that, like in their heads. And gambling, like websites and gambling shops, I don't know what it's like in other countries, but in the UK, we have gambling shops everywhere. Like, betting shops are literally like, we've got a little cluster of shops near my house, and there's like 2 gambling shops there. There's like 1 supermarket and 2 gambling shops. And it's like, they play on that idea of being like, hey, you need money and you could probably win it. And they do it in different ways. You have slot machines where it's just like, someone's got to win. It could be you, or lotteries. Or you have like sports betting where it's like, hey, you know more about this than anyone else, so you'll probably win. Not like all of these other suckers, even though every single one of those other suckers also thinks that they know more than everyone else and are going to win, because everyone thinks that they know more than everyone else. And so it's like they play on that mistake that people have in their head. And they take your money. Like, they just take it. You're just losing it. Now, I've got like less of a problem with casinos, because in my head, casinos are inherently entertainment. I don't think there's that many people. In reality, I don't think there's that big a percentage of people that go into casinos that think they're going to get rich by going to a casino. I don't think many people are going into a casino with the idea that they're going to make money. Obviously, there's people hoping they'll make money, and there's always going to be some gullible idiots that are like, this is how I'm going to make my fortune, by going to Vegas. But the majority of people are seeing it as entertainment. Like, they're seeing it as, it's a night out. I'm going to take 100 quid into a casino, probably going to lose it all, but I'll have some fun while I'm doing it. And that's like, that I think is fine. I've got no problem with that. Same as like people who will go to horse races and they'll do it as like a social thing with their friends. They're like, oh, we're going to go to horse races and like bet 50 quid or whatever, like Honkin saying then, yeah, go to an arcade, 50 quid, come out with a lot of money. Fine. I've got no real problem with that. But that's not what online gambling is. Online gambling is an entertainment. Online gambling is a grind, like we were talking about earlier with video games, and a grind where the reward is you getting rich, or the reward is you getting a lot of money. And people think if they put the grind in, they will make a lot of money, because that's how all of those things are set up. Like, that's how, it's just slot machines and stuff, a lot of it, or it's like online poker against a computer or stuff like that. It's systems where, if you think about it, it's rigged against you. Like, it's definitely rigged against you. But people still think they're going to be the lucky ones. If they put the hours in, if they just put enough money in, they're going to see a return on it that's going to be enough money. And it's the same thing, with like people putting money in crypto and all crap like that. It's a similar kind of idea that people just think for them it's going to work out. Like, they're going to be the ones that are lucky, not like all of those idiots that lose all their money. And my problem with Kick is that if you go on, I'll show you. If we go onto the Kick page, so this is the Kick homepage right now, and it's like, and literally every time I've looked, it's had the exact same setup, which makes me think this isn't a organic thing. This is completely organized by them. And so it's always, for me, the featured streams is always one for some random game, one for Call of Duty. Every time it's been that. And I bet if I click on these, won't it? That guy. Oh, so this is the Apex streamer, Average Adam, 185 viewers, but actually not doing that. And then this other person, I'm not even going to click on it, 207 viewers. So those two featured streams, and that's what I'm sure I could get put on one of those. I could get onto that. That's what they've been emailing me. So saying to people, then a gambling stream, this one, again, not going to click on it because it's saying 18 plus, 43,479 viewers. 43,000 viewers. So 100 something viewers, 200 viewers, 43,000 viewers. But it's third in the listing of featured streams. And it's always third in this set of listed streams. Always. Oh, no. Well, the community night's not happening. I just got a message from the UK community manager saying it's not happening. So we're not doing the Warzone community stuff. So yeah. So, I mean, that's... I don't see how anyone could look at this and be like, this isn't trying to encourage gambling. Well, like, there's clearly manipulation going on there. For this to be 169, 217, 43,000. That's insane. And then you look at the top live categories. 48,000 people are on slots and casinos. 7,000 people are on just chatting. And then it's like GTA, Warzone, Hot Tubs, Fortnite, other watch parties, blah, 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 everything else. Sleeping, 516. Creepy ass. Like, I don't have any problem with any of the stuff. I've even seen a couple of people being like, oh, I wouldn't want to do Kick because there's loads of like hot tub streams in there. To be honest, I don't have a problem with that. Like, if a streamer wants to just like be, their thing is that they stream essentially their body and just like being all sexy, and they want people to be like giving them money in exchange for entertaining them that way, I don't really care. I don't really have a problem with that. I'm not really sure where the problem is with that. Like, they're kind of exploiting the audience a little bit, I guess, but surely people know what they're getting out of that. Like, those people don't, the people watching don't think they're going to like fall in love and have a relationship. I don't know. If they do, then that's maybe getting into dubious grounds. But in general, I don't have an issue with that. But the gambling thing, it's like, why are 43,000 people watching this person play this? Like, why would 43,000 people watch someone gambling? Like, that's an insane number of people. That's like such a huge stream. If I go to like, man, if I go to Twitch right now, browse, live channels, viewers high to low. Viewers high to low. That's higher than anyone on Twitch. That single stream is higher than anybody. Oh, I know, I've got English as a filter. I'll turn that off. Oh, sorry, yeah. Still higher, even if you include other languages. Like, that's one person playing a stupid gambling game is getting, like, nearly double the views of the highest Twitch stream. And bear in mind, this is a platform where, looking at it, it looks like there's about maybe 60,000 people watching in total. So how's that happened? Aiden Ross is a massive creator, but 47,000 people watching a slot machine. Like, that's an insane number. I mean, like, I'm sure Aiden Ross is a wonderful person or whatever, but like, you know, you look at the, oh, if I go back to the English ones, then it's people I know of. Oh, no. Okay, that's not working because everyone can spell it however they want. But like here, you know, Summit, I know who Summit is. I've heard of Maximilian Dude, like, on there. I don't actually know a lot more of these people. The official Rainbow Six channel, the official Valorant channel. Like, you know, I've kind of heard of those people. Those are massive. Like, Summit is massive, but it's still only getting 14,000 viewers as opposed to 43,000 watching a slot machine. So I think what's happening here, and this is my problem with Kick in general, is that they are encouraging people to come and stream. They're encouraging people to come and play whatever, play Warzone, play Fortnite, play Apex, whatever. And then they are doing that with the idea that people will get bored of those streams over time, because you do, you know, sometimes you're just watching someone, you're like, yeah, I've watched this person enough, let's see what else is on. And then they'll see these massive gambling streams and they'll be like, oh, you know, why is everyone watching this? Why is there so many people watching this? Let's check it out. And then they'll watch it, and then inevitably they'll see that streamer winning money. Of course they will. They'll see people winning huge amounts of money. So like that person, that Aiden Ross person, from the thumbnail, it looks like they just won $704. Just happened to win $704 on a $7 bet. So they are getting 100 times their money back. They currently have, their credit is $57,000. They see that and they're like, oh, I could give it a go. And it'll be things like, I'm sure there'll be links at the bottom of the stream and stuff saying like, hey, you can get some free spins. So you're not even having to spend any money. You know, you can like get free things like that. And then like people make an account and then they get like given free spins and they're like, oh, you know, I used up all my free spins, but like I saw that guy making $700 off one. So I could do this like 100 times and I'm bound to win in one of those 100 spins, aren't I? And then they'll start spending a bit of money and stuff like that. And they'll very quickly end up essentially having a gambling problem, like essentially giving these gambling websites their money for nothing, based on hope, based on what they've seen a streamer do. And that's my concern with Kick, is that that's what's going to happen. Like, is that that's what the goal is to get you to bring your communities over to Kick, so then they will try these gambling websites. And it doesn't even, I don't think it even matters that much whether you will then go to stake.com. I think it's about you getting involved in online gambling at all. They want their potential audience to be bigger, so they just want you to get involved in online gambling. It's the same thing as like Midnight Society, Dr. Disrespect's development studio, that they have some of the people who are their investors are people who run crypto exchanges and stuff like that. They don't care about you liking that game, and they don't care about you spending money on NFTs for Dead Drop. They care about you getting an NFT wallet. They care about you making a MetaMask account. They care about you just normalizing in your head the idea that you might play games where crypto and NFTs are a part of it. That's what their goal is, because then you're making the audience bigger and then they're more likely to then use their products, use their services and stuff like that. And I think that's what Kick.com is doing, is trying to get people to bring their communities over with the hope that some of them will become online gamblers. And as I was going back to, I didn't really explain at the beginning, I think that's inherently a bad thing, because I think the people that suffer from online gambling tend to be people who need money the most and are therefore more ready to make a bad decision about it. Like, if you're desperate for money, you're more likely to do something stupid to get money, like gamble for it, which will then end up making your problem even worse. And then you get into that, you know, the whole gambler's fallacy of like, well, I've already spent £100 on this site, but if I spend another £100, maybe I'll win all of that back. And now they've spent £200, and like, well, I've already spent £200 on it. Maybe if I spend another £100, I'll win all of that back. And like, they end up getting themselves in trouble. And you hear it all over the place. You know, it's a very common, well-known thing that online gambling is addictive and it ruins people's lives and stuff like that. So all of this, anyway, so that's my explanation of why Kick might be bad. And gambling is bad. Online gambling, especially bad. Casinos don't care about so much. So then I've got the thing of like, and then you've also got other problems with Kick, like the service isn't going to scale. You know, Maida, who's a moderator on his channel, he's talked a lot on Twitter about, he knows all about the web side of it, about how the services they're using definitely won't work if they suddenly actually getting hundreds of thousands of people watching. The whole thing will collapse. So they're not made to scale in some ways, that like Kick won't ever be as big as Twitch or YouTube unless they completely redo the system that they're using. And the whole thing about creators getting 95% of the revenue, how long can that last? They like Twitch and YouTube, as far as I know, don't make money on live streaming. Like You know, Twitch famously has been in a bad situation. They've had to cut partner revenue shares. They've just fired 400 people, and Twitch do not have a massive staff. Like, I think 400 people is a big chunk of the company. They're not making money doing this. So if they can't work out how to make money when they're taking like 50%, 70%, sorry, they're taking 50% or 30% of what creators are getting, how are Kick going to make money when they're only taking 5% of what their creators are getting? And the answer is probably either they're doing this as a loss leader, and once people are invested, once people have built a community on their channel, then they will pull the rug and say, okay, now we're going to 50-50% or something even worse. Or they don't care about losing money on this because they're making money from you gambling. Which is probably I think that's the more likely answer. So, all of that stuff, assuming everything I've said is true, which it might not be, you know, I'm seeing the same stuff you are. Assuming all of that's true, why would I ever stream on Kick? Well, because you can make money doing it. That's essentially it. You can make, as a streamer, as a smaller streamer, who doesn't have a massive community already, I could probably, if I streamed on Kick for a week or two, I reckon I could probably make a couple £100. I reckon I could make a bit of money. I reckon I could make more money streaming on Kick than I can on YouTube. Right now. You know, like if I switched all of my streams this week to Kick and I pushed hard for Kick and I talked about it on Twitter and I asked them to put me on the front page of Kick, I reckon I could make more money doing that than I could on YouTube. So then I'm left with the quandary, should I? Should I risk exposing my community to online gambling, which I saw Stallion and Doc Fox and people on Twitter were making the argument of like, well, my community's adults, they can do what they want. Like, I'm not in charge of what they spend their money on. So you could take that approach of like, yeah, I'm probably exposing you to online gambling, but you're adults, so it's not my job to babysit you. And I can make money doing it. Or do I not do that because that's probably unethical? And that's hard. It's genuinely a hard question. I made an account on Kick. I think I've got 2 followers, which I don't really understand who else followed me on Kick. I assume one of the followers is probably counted as me, and someone else did. But yeah, I don't know. Do I make money and just think like, you know, the bad effects are like theoretical, the bad effects are like philosophical, they're not like a big deal, and it'll be a short-term thing anyway, make money. There's also like a couple of other things about like splitting your community. I moved from Twitch to YouTube, and a lot of people had been subscribers for a long time on Twitch, and they lost their like subscription streaks, and they lost their like, you know, all things like that because I asked them to subscribe again on YouTube. And then, you know, a lot of people didn't ever do it. A lot of people didn't ever cross over, which is fine. They just stopped subscribing to me on Twitch because I wasn't streaming there anymore. And then it's like, and now people, you know, there's not tons of people, but there's a few people have been subscribers to me on YouTube now. What do they feel cheated if then I'm like, oh, hey, but some of my content is now going to be over on kick.com and you don't get anything there for the money that you've already given me over here? Like, that's harsh, isn't it? That feels a bit mean. And it's like, then essentially I'm encouraging people to be like, hey, you should become a subscriber on Kick too. Give me another £5 a month. Feels harsh. Yeah, I've got 95 members at the moment, which that's less than I had. I had 111 a month ago. So I am not growing my membership on YouTube. I am losing members on YouTube. I think that's because a lot of people gifted memberships and like they went down. So cancellations, I had I lost 46 members over the last month and gained 31, but 34 of those that I lost were gifted ones. So it makes sense that they wouldn't do it. 12 people quit because they were paying for membership and they just decided not to anymore, which, you know, happens. But yeah, so it's difficult. It's difficult to work out what to do. What do you think, chat? Should I stream on Kick? So I could. I'm doing a thing later today at 2 o'clock. I'm doing a thing where I'm going to be playing through both the Call of Duty raids to get Sean all of the unlocks. Like, she wants to get all of the camos, so I'm going to help her. Me and Flynn are going to come on and help her. I could stream that. I'm probably not going to stream that on YouTube because I don't think it would do very well on YouTube because none of my raid content does. I could stream it on Twitch. That's where I tend to do streams that I just don't care about that much, where I'm just like, it's very casual, it's very laid back. Could do it on Twitch, or I could do it on Kick and just see whether people start watching, see whether people start following. I know Shauna's doing hers on Kick today. What do people think? Going back up. The main advisor behind Kick is Trainwreck TV. Yeah, he's the one who's involved in Stake, isn't he? You're struggling with content for YouTube, so gambling is the deal. That's nonsense to you. What do you mean, Storm Operator? I'm not saying I'm going to start doing gambling streams. At all. Gambling and hot tubs must be a thing. There's a whole thing about getting that first purchase, same with mobile games, literally. Once you start to flow, no matter how small it is, it's easier to get people spending. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like getting their foot in the door. Like, that's what I was saying for ages about Midnight Society, giving everyone an NFT for free when they signed up. They gave you like a claw emblem or something. The whole point of that was that they could get your foot in the door, that you now had an NFT. You had an NFT wallet. You had engaged with that thing. And then they could go back to investors and say, hey, look, we've got 500,000 people that have got an NFT now that didn't have one before. So now they're all potential customers of yours. You know, they might want to sell it on your platforms, blah, blah, blah. And it's like the same thing with the gambling. It's like, hey, we've got 500,000 people that have now tried online gambling that hadn't tried it before. That'd be a big deal. The phone's being weird. Hey, Ninja Cat, how's it going? Apparently, Kick is announcing 6 big name streamers this week. Yeah. Probably. You bet Twitch and YouTube would add more gambling stuff too. Well, I mean, Storm, it's hard to say your name, Operator. Twitch has gone away from gambling, hasn't it? They banned a load of gambling streams. They specifically decided to. If streams on Kick get donations, the watchers also support a gambling company. I mean, kind of in a very roundabout way, Fogger. Like, the 5% of your donation that goes to Kick isn't a gambling company. It's just the main investor in Kick is someone who also owns a gambling company. Which, you know, that's kind of a problem, you know, if you looked at all the people who have stakes in YouTube and Google, or all the people who have stakes in Amazon and Twitch, there's probably a lot of people who also own gambling companies or crypto things there. It's like we're getting back into the whole thing of Hogwarts Legacy about how much do you care about where your money goes when you buy something. It would be nice to think that you know exactly where it's going and you care exactly about where it's going, but you probably don't. And you probably can't easily. You reckon for content creators it's a no-brainer to try? Ninja Cat says, care for yourself and yours. You know the right thing to do. Ninja Cat, that's like, what you've just said to me is incredibly ambiguous. Care for yourself and yours, does that mean give Kick a try because I can make money? You know, the other day, a couple of weeks ago, I streamed an advert for Raid Shadow Legends. And they paid me quite a lot of money to do that. And it's like, I always said before, oh, I'll never do adverts for Raid Shadow Legends. But then they gave me a load of money and I was like, no, I don't really care. Like, they give me a lot of money. I'm happy to do that. I need to get money somehow. That's a difficult thing. What's this? Ninja Cat, thank you very much.
Cheap and real.
That's super kind of you. Man, you've all been super kind with super chats today. That's very nice of you. I still don't know what you think. Should I stream on Kick or not, Cat? What do you think? That's very generous. Suppose it comes down to your moral code and how you see your growth. Potentially you could be bigger on YouTube because of the bigger audience compared to the short-term monetary gain. But Mark, if it was that simple, then I'd say, yeah, 100% I should stick with YouTube. But I'm talking about doing streams that I wouldn't normally do on YouTube. YouTube, I have to be very strict about how much I stream here. Because of the way their notifications work, because of the way having like it's so easy to lose subscribers on YouTube if you put the wrong content out on it. I wouldn't be taking stuff away from what I do on YouTube. This would purely be additionally. At the moment, I do extra streams on Twitch. That's essentially what this comes down to. At the moment, I do, you know, sometimes like over the last couple of weeks, I've streamed Destiny on Twitch, I've streamed Diablo on Twitch. I stream other games basically on Twitch. Stuff that I don't think is going to do very well on YouTube, or sometimes if it's like a random time of night and I'm like, oh, I've already done like a video and a stream on YouTube, I don't want to send everyone another notification or anything, so I'll just stream on Twitch. So then it's like, if people want to watch me, they know where to find me, but I'm not bothering the people who wouldn't normally want to be bothered by this because I'm only going live for an hour, or I'm only going live for I'm just doing something that's kind of boring. It's essentially that stuff that I would do on Kick instead of Twitch. And it's like, I would make more money putting it on Kick than I would on Twitch. Like, 100%. So YouTube wouldn't be affected. YouTube would not be affected in any way. I wouldn't be moving any content from YouTube to Kick. It would be the Twitch stuff that at the moment, you know, I normally, if I'm streaming on Twitch, I get 10, 20 people watching. Don't really I get a few renewed memberships every time I do it. But remember, Twitch takes half of that money. I would move that content over to Kick. Just the extra streams, the extra little streams where I'm like, yeah, I'll just stream for a little bit. Most streamers I've seen that switch platform lose a big portion of their viewers as people are very tied to one platform. Yeah, I would never switch my platform. You'd be insane to switch your platform to Kick. Like, that would be the most terrible decision. Any streamer who has any kind of community or audience that they've built up, if you're a new streamer, even then I think Kick would be a bad idea. But anyone who thought about moving their platform to Twitch, to Kick, I can tell what it is, because I just don't think Kick's going to survive. Like, it's exactly the same as people who switched their platform to Mixer, or people who switched their platform to Facebook, or people who switched their platform to Trovo. It's like, there isn't a future for these platforms. I mean, to be fair, I didn't know that about Mixer. I didn't really know that about Facebook, like how badly that was going to go. But if it can happen to them, if it can happen to Mixer that it completely shuts down, or it can happen to Facebook that they just decide to pivot away from pushing their gaming streams and stuff like that, then it can definitely happen to something like Kick. You can give Kick a try, but honestly, you like YouTube because of the library of videos and sometimes you watch live streams. You don't imagine yourself downloading Kick, Twitch, or other apps to stream. Yeah, 100% operator. And that's what, like, that's what happened to me. I moved my platform from Twitch to YouTube because I had more subscribers on YouTube and I had, like, I kind of like the way YouTube does streams a bit more, like, especially with the VODs and stuff like that. I think it's a better system. But I lost a lot going from Twitch to YouTube. Like, I lost a lot of people who didn't make that switch. And I sort of was aware that that was going to happen. I've never had... The community that I had on Twitch, there's still a lot of people that have never come over to YouTube. Or they come over, but they don't really ever say anything. They don't ever chat. They don't really get involved anymore. And that happens. I understand that. But like I said, I wouldn't be switching from YouTube to Kick. I would be switching my secondary streams from Twitch to Kick. And it's like, not that many people watch my Twitch streams anyway, so don't think I've got much to lose. It's very easy to sit on a soapbox and criticize it, but at the end of the day, people also need to make a living. Passion doesn't buy the pancakes. I've never heard that before, but I like it. Yeah. Some Twitch viewers are really diehard about a platform. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think a lot of it's routine as well. There's a lot of people who have the Twitch app and they watch streams on their phone. And if you move away from Twitch, they're not going to now start trying to find streams on the YouTube app. They're just going to keep on watching the Twitch app and watch someone else because they're used to opening that app. It's the same thing, like, there's a thing that Fireborn uses instead of Discord called Gilded. And I set up a Gilded thing, a channel, and I like it more than Discord. Like, Gilded is better than Discord. I would say just fundamentally, it's a better system. I like the way they do everything. But I found that when I set it up, I was still just opening the Discord app all the time and checking that more often. because I'm so used to checking Discord. Same thing with Twitter. You know, Hive came out. Hive, I think, is better than Twitter. It just doesn't have enough people on it. But even when I install Hive, I check Hive maybe once a week, whereas I check Twitter like 70 times a day. It's really hard to get out. Yeah, I think so, Affers. Yeah. Yeah. See, it's an interesting kind of, it's an interesting topic. It's an interesting problem, the whole Kick thing. I think maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll try streaming on Kick today. I probably won't tell everyone about it because I'm weirdly embarrassed about it and slightly ashamed. And if I put it on Twitter, I think people will be a bit weird about it. But maybe I'll just do it and see who shows up. Don't know. I haven't got anything to lose. That stream, I wasn't even going to stream the raids later, but maybe I'll do it that way. Tom Wallace says, thank you very much for renewing your membership, by the way, Tom. I'd give it a go, Geeky. I never use Twitch, but new platform, new eyes for YouTube. Yeah, if I can like find a bunch of new people, if I can get Kick to follow me, if I can get Kick to promote me a bit, and then I can say to a few of those people, hey, I do most of my streams over on YouTube and can get a few people back. I'm saving them from seeing the gambling, so you know, maybe that'd be a good thing. Maybe I could see it like that. I could see it like a what do they call the Mormon people? What do you call it when you go to another country and you try to go a missionary? I could be like a Kick.com missionary, trying to like save their souls from Kick and bring them back over to YouTube. That's I'm joking, by the way. Before people are like, that's a very weird way of looking at that. Right, I might try. I'm gonna send an email to the Kick person, and if I can remember where it is, creator support. No, oh, I don't even know where the Kick person is. Kick. I'm gonna send them an email and say, okay, I might try it today. Right, where's my profile? Channel. Oh no, that's Twitch. I accidentally went to Twitch instead of Kick. Yeah. And I'll set up a thing. If people want to go follow me over there, they can do. I'll put a link in chat in a second. I've got 2 followers right now. And we'll give it a go. We'll see what it's like. You've just pressed the like button. Thank you very much, everyone who has pressed the like. There's a lot of people who press the like button. When I do this, people like them. With a Call of Duty stream I'm doing. My profile is, I'll see how it goes. Apparently subs will be enabled immediately after I sign up, so I'll give this a go and see. Is weapon tuning still messed up? I don't know what was wrong with it. I never really understood weapon tuning. It always seemed broken to me. You know what I really liked? What I really, really liked with Call of Duty is when we started playing the beta and everyone was fairly sure guns were better without attachments. Wasn't that cool? Wasn't it cool when you didn't have to think about attachments and then it was just like, if you wanted to put a suppressor on, or you wanted to put a sight on, or you wanted to put a bigger magazine on, you knew it would make the gun worse, but it would like, you know, fix whatever problem you had. You know, oh, you don't have enough ammo, like in the Fennec, I'll put on a 45 round mag. And, you know, it'll make the gun worse, but it also gives me a 45 round mag. That was awesome. Man, it'd be so cool if the attachment system was like that. Rather than like, hey, if you do this, it will reduce your horizontal recoil spread by 32%. It's like, ugh, it's boring. Thank you, Affers. Yeah, I enjoy doing this. This is a lot more fun than playing DMC, to be honest. Also, I want to do something then. Right, my Kick, I have... Oh, and I said I was going to post a link to it, didn't I? Here we go. There is a link to my Kick page if people want to follow me. Don't feel obliged. But you can. I'll give it a go. I've never streamed there before. I could stream there. I might stream there from 2 PM later today. Morning. COD needs to go back to basics. I disagree. I don't think Call of Duty should keep going backwards. Call of Duty needs to do something new and different and fun. That's what I think. Call of Duty needs to stop listening to people. They do need to be creative. You tune a weapon, then you save it, but it all resets if you load in the game. That sucks. That isn't how that should work. I've still got 2 followers. No one followed me on Kick. My kick attempt has been a mistake. Kick looks like Twitch. They've literally copied everything about Twitch. It's so much like Twitch. It's so much like Twitch. It's really funny. It's like copying someone's homework, but not even changing it a bit. It's like, it looks exactly like it. In some ways, from my perspective, that's very good because it's like, it means I know how to stream on it. You know, I just need to grab the stream key and stuff. But yeah, I'm literally going to copy basically everything from Twitch, like my profiles and everything, all my scenes and everything, and just whack them onto Kick. I don't know how to make it so like chat and stuff works. I might need to actually, oh god, I might need to make a new profile in Stream Elements. Should we see, man, the Stream Elements, do they have a Kick profile? I've got a Trovo account and a Facebook account on my thing. No, you can't add Kick. Can't bloody add Kick on Stream Elements, so I'd have to do it some other way. Kick with, I don't know how you make alerts work or anything. No. How do you make anything work on Kick? Notifications, no. Security, no. Stream key, no. Oh, you can multi-stream. So they like encourage it to be like, hey, you can stream to Twitch and Kick at the same time. It's like, I don't want to do that. If I'm streaming on bloody Kick, I want to stream on Kick. Is there no way to make it so your alerts show up on stream? That's dumb. There's like no API. That's bizarre. Oh, that's the way it is, I guess. Thanks, Soldier Clark. 4 followers now. Whoa, I'm hitting the big time. Create a dashboard. Let's have a look. Channel. There we go. 5 followers. Whoa, I've just got up 150% follower increase in one day. Amazing. I still want to know who that other follower was. There was one other follower somewhere. No idea who they were. Oh well. I heard that to become affiliate, you need 100 followers, but I think they, in their email, they were just like, we'll just give you affiliate. I was like, okay. Anyway, let's do something different. By the way, like I said earlier, if anyone wants to know anything about Redfall, please ask. I do kind of want to talk about Redfall, but I don't want to just rehash my video. If anyone doesn't know, Redfall is the new game from the people who made Dishonored and Prey, not the people who made Deathloop. That's actually a different studio. Same company, but different studio. And it's like a multiplayer vampire FPS. It's cool. I got to play it for an hour and a half. Got to sit next to Jack Frags and play it, which was very exciting. Because, you know, I hadn't met him before. I met Mr. Waffles, but he was in a different session. He played before. It was cool. I doubled my channel size with this one simple step, but yeah. You were my first follower? When did you follow Honkin? When did you bloody follow? Because I've had 2 followers for ages. Like weeks, and I don't know why. It's just like when people were talking about Kick, and I went on now and I looked, and I was like, why have I got 2 followers? I just like literally, I made a channel on there as soon as Kick was announced. I made a channel on there because I didn't want someone else to pretend to be me. That was it. Anyway, I'm gonna make a thumbnail. Do you want to see how I make a thumbnail in Affinity by Serif? Oh, crazy looking. So this is Affinity by Serif. It looks a lot like Photoshop, because it basically is. I'm going to make a thumbnail for a Diablo video I want to do today. Diablo videos don't tend to do well, but we're going to try. So I need this layer, I need this layer, I need this layer, I need this layer, and I need this layer. So some people might be able to work out what I'm going to do. You're really not sure about the gambling on Kick. What do you mean, Simon? You're not sure about it? Do tell. I'm happy to have this conversation. Redfall, what's your vid? It's not gonna. I mean, I'm not gonna do a gambling stream. Just to make that very clear, I'm never gonna do a gambling stream. Like, that's not the plan. Redfall, what's your video? It's gonna be a once and done co-op blast, or will it have an end game? Looks like a fun Game Pass game. I don't think it's gonna have an end game. I don't know for sure, but I don't think it will have an end game. I think it's very much a you play through the story wherever. I think it might be like Borderlands, where, like, in theory, there technically is an end game, but not many people really get involved in that. Like, most people just play the story and then they finish. There might be like New Game Plus and stuff. I don't know. When someone asked about that at the session I was in, and they were like, "We're not really talking about the end game yet." So make of that what you will. Right, let's. Can I like? Can I resize all of them at once? What? Why have I not picked up one of them? That one. That one. That one. And that one. Right, that's what I want. Kind of. I need them all to be lined up. This is going to be very frustrating if they're not all lined up. Do I need to put it as like... Right, I need to have it like there. And then this one... Right, I need to work out how to line these up. This can be a pain. Right. This one I'm going to set to where I want it to be. No, not that one, this one. So I want it to be like there. But I don't want that bit, so I want it to be there. Okay. There. And then this one, I'll put it on, but with limited thing. But then I need to line it up there. And then this one, line it up. Just like there. Then this one, line it up. Just like there. And then this one, nope, oops. That one, line it up. Just like there. So now, if I put them all in, they're all in the same place. Perfect. Right. Then I need to put all of them opacity to 100%. Cool. So the idea is, what I'm going to try and do is cut out all of these things from each picture so they all line up. Now this should be a lot easier than it sounds. What's the select tool thing? That one. Freehand. So if I do it like this one, that one, and then if I invert the selection and then delete everything else. No, that just deleted the whole thing. No. Oh, I need to rasterize all of these, I think. Rasterize. So now, there we go. And then from this one, I want to cut out and then invert and delete everything else. And don't worry, I'm going to tidy it up. But hopefully you can see where I'm going with this. I just want to make the light version of all of these the like true one, if that makes sense. Boop. This this is one of these things that I do this sometimes, where I do something and in my head I'm like, this is so clever, and then I realize, why not actually? And then like I realize to a lot of people this is all super obvious, and this is like what they would have immediately done. But to me, this is quite clever. And then actually, I need to do that one again because I need to get rid of the bit above the barbarian. Then invert. There we go. That's better. Right, so now I've got all of them illuminated. How clever is that? Like, how good is that? Now I just need to do some, like, healing and stuff. So this should be fairly straightforward. Just like, boop, 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 boop. No, it's that one. Get rid of that weird shelf that's there for some reason. Get rid of that, that's fine. Then this, I can just sort of smudge it a little bit. Oh, and actually I should probably merge these. Yeah, merge selected, why not? Just try and get rid of that line a little bit. Thought I was smudging it, but I don't know if that's actually working. Sponge brush? Is it actually doing anything? It's doing nothing. Why is that doing nothing? Past 100%, blah, blah, hardness. That's doing nothing. I don't understand how that tool works. That's doing something. There we go. Not doing a lot. Like strength. There we go. There we go. That's a bit better. And then I just need to... That looks rubbish. Need to do that on a much smaller scale and with much less strength. But maybe more strength than that. This is tough. If anyone has any suggestions for how to make this better, please let me know. Maybe I do need to make it bigger, stronger. No, not like that. No, that looks rubbish. It's too strong. This is very difficult to do. I smudged on Innocent Man's scythe. Did I? What about if I did the healing brush? Oh yeah, that's better. Oh, that's better. What guy's scythe? Oh, did I smudge that? It didn't smudge it much though. Right, and then this. Sort of lose a little bit of detail, but just trying to get rid of these like harsh edges. No. Oh, this healing brush is amazing. No, this is Affinity by Seraph. So this is a piece of software. I asked people what would be a good replacement for Photoshop because I didn't like paying. I pay like 12 pounds a month or something like that for Photoshop. So I was like, oh, is there like a good alternative that's free? and they were like, and some people suggested this, so I thought I'd try the free trial, and then on a whim, I was like, hey, I wonder if they'll like give me a free copy of this, and they did. That was cool. I think I've like, I don't know what I've done to that, but it's fine. Right, this bit now. Just trying to get rid of some of these like weird bits, basically, where it's like a little bit too jarring. Because bear in mind, most people are going to see the thumbnail like that big, so it doesn't really matter. But that looks quite good, and now I've got. Oh yeah, well, that probably needs some attention, doesn't it? Yeah, Adobe, like, it's super expensive paying for it monthly. Because I've been paying for Photoshop for like 2 years now. So you think if I've been paying £12 a month, that's 48 times 12. That's like, what, £500 I've paid for Photoshop? And I don't own it. Like, if as soon as my membership runs out, I have to, like, stop using it. That's insane. I'd much rather not have to do that. I mean, look at this tool. How good was that? Like, that was pretty cool. That worked really well. So, that's all done. Now, we need to mess around with layers again a bit. So, we use the selection brush for this. And basically just select everything. Like, I'll kind of do it in broad strokes to begin with. No. And then that's fine. No, that's not fine. And then I go to subtract and take this away, and then just try to actually no. Just try to make it a bit more like the real thing. No. Oh my god. I want that. Yes. And then smaller for that. And then make this a little bit smaller, maybe. I do quite like this way of doing these streams where the first 2 hours is very much like just me talking constantly. And then the last hour or so is like something different. I don't know whether we'll keep like this or whether I'll just stick to the talking bits, because I think that's probably what people like the best. But if you let me know if you have strong feelings one way or the other, like, do you like these bits where I'm just doing something a bit different, like playing a game, trying something? Or do you think I should just stick to the talking bits? I think that's probably fine. And then that hand needs to come in. But then I can get rid of all this. Get rid of all that. Ooh. No, didn't mean to get rid of that. This is very... I like the design on this stuff, but it's a pain to do. This is stuff that, like, is a bit easier in Photoshop because it's like... Oh, I just realized that's all messed up there. I'm going to fix that in a bit. Anyway. Oh, and her hand is all messed up. His hand. I don't know. Don't realize that until you're looking really closely because it's all so dark. Don't know if I need to fix that or not really, because I couldn't see it before, so maybe it'll be fine this way. That needs to be fixed as well. Let's get rid of all that, get rid of that, but add that back in. Get rid of all this. Difficult because it's such like a dark image that you don't want to... You don't want to, like, lose too much of the sort of definition on stuff. But also, because it's so dark, it doesn't, like, hugely matter until later. And then get rid of all this. Add that back in. Ooh. Oh my god. There we go. I'll do. So, then the idea is, hopefully... Delete that layer. Hopefully, if I get rid of this, yeah. I have it. So the idea is now I can put, like, text in and I can say, which class is the most fun? Question mark. This is too long. Can anyone think of a better thumbnail title than that? Maybe just fun? Do it like that? I cut all of that out. I spent ages doing that and I don't actually need to because it's too high up. That looks stupid. Which class is fun? I don't think that actually looks good being behind there like that. Oh, I need to get rid of that as well. Healing. Why is that so big? I can't even see the size of the brush, which is kind of annoying. There we go. What should we do for that? Which class is fun? Which class is the most fun? Which class is... We'll worry about that in a bit. Let's sort out the brightness and stuff. Vibrance, just make it all a bit more colorful. Then we'll also make the whole thing a bit brighter. Actually, I can do this. One nice thing for this is that you can actually do this for the whole image. You can improve the brightness and stuff. That looks a bit better. It's a bit brighter. Could maybe even actually turn that saturation down a little bit. What can we call it? It's like best class for fun. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds awkward, doesn't it? Basically, I'm going to make a video where it's like going through each class. I'm going to be ranking each class in terms of how fun they are to play. That's the idea. I'm going to put a bit more contrast. Maybe a bit less. The really annoying thing is most people are going to look at this and never ever notice that you can't get the character to select to look like this. That you can't have them all lit up at once, and I had to make this bloody image. Most people will never care. Can I just make that thing a bit more contrasty? Oh god, that looks awful. Let's get rid of that then. You won't believe the most fun class. The other class is ranked for fun. But we need so I need as few characters as possible. Like as few letters as possible. So that's my problem with like most enjoyable class, is just that it's too many. And if I say ranked for fun, it sounds like I'm just ranking them for fun, rather than it's how fun they are. Which class is fun is okay, but I think we can do better. We could do like the most fun. See, if I have less characters, then I can make this bigger, and that looks better. Fun rankings. Fun ranking. That sounds weird. Is that something you'd click on? Would you click on a thumbnail that looked like that? If I could have this, and then I could have the title like, which Diablo 4 class is the most fun? Then that gives people a decent idea of what it's about, doesn't it? I think. Give it a little bit of shadow, maybe. Think that works? Would you click on this if like you saw this thumbnail? It's like fun ranking, and then it was like which Diablo 4 class is the most fun? Would you click on that? As a group of people that I know, lots of you want to do it. So I don't want to do it as a choose your Diablo class, and I don't want to do best class or anything like that, because I'm going to make a point in the video that it isn't about what's the best class, because that's easy. The best class is Necromancer. Everyone knows that the best class is Necromancer. It's so much more powerful than the others. It's not even close. But I'm doing it about which one's the most fun to play, and I don't think Necromancer's most fun to play. It is very good, but not the most fun. Ranked by experience. What do you mean by that? Why is this brush so bloody weird? I just want a soft brush. Maybe a normal soft brush. Basic. There we go. Or even I did this and then masked it, maybe that might be a better job. Mask. And then, oh, I could just brush it on the... And with this, I want the healing brush. There we go. That's better. And this be... No. Just opacity. And then that, and then healing brush. Ooh. That looks a lot better. Anyway. Change all their heads to clowns. Which class will you choose? No, ranked by experience. But like I said, I don't want it, it's not about which one's the best, it's which one's most fun. Which one's most enjoyable. Fun ranking. Franking. I think this is fine. I think this is... Do you not think people would click on this? Like, fun ranking, and be like, oh, people love ranked lists. People love ranked lists. They click on it and be like, oh yeah, what's it? I want to see a list. I want to see what order they're in. Maybe. Hopefully. I'm going to save it like this for now, I think. Fun ranking. We'll see how that goes. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But we'll see. Right. And what else did I want to do today? How many kick followers have we got now? Still 5. We got 5. That's fair enough. I understand. I don't need you to come over and do that. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna go make a video for that soon. I don't think I've got anything to play today, sadly. I don't have any extra little games. It's very sad that Diablo is now ending and we're not gonna be able to play Diablo again until the 2nd of June. How many days is it till the 2nd of June? Let's have a look. How many days until June 2nd? 67 days. There's 67 days till Diablo 4 comes out. That's upsetting. That's a long time to wait. But they'll tick down. We'll get there. We'll get it finished. Like I said, tomorrow I'm going to be streaming some Rocky City, which I don't know I don't know how much all of you know about that game, but it is launching or available for me to play from 4 p.m. tomorrow. So, yeah, well, I'll be able to play that from 4 p.m. tomorrow. Do you all know Rocky City? That's pretty good, Texas. That's pretty good for a YouTube title. I might steal that. Diablo 4 ranking every class by fun factor. Good work, ChatGPT. You really hope what Diablo comes to Game Pass. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, as far as I know, and someone can correct me if you know more about this than I do, which I'm sure lots of you will. With Hey JW. Oh no, Microcept. That's not the thumbnail type. Not the text on the thumbnail. The text on the thumbnail needs to be really short. But Texas P8's one might be a decent like actual video title. I mean, what's the alternative? Like if I did Diablo 4, like which Diablo 4 class is the most fun? That's not that many different characters, is it? Ranking every class by fun factor. ChatGPT checks loads of YouTube titles and it's like that'll work. Anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, with the Microsoft deal and Activision, I thought it would be the case of like, oh, the regulators give approval and then it'll take ages for them to sort out the deal. But from what I've seen, when they did it with Bethesda, regulators approved it one day, and then they announced the deal was happening the next day, and then it happened the day after. So it was like literally the space of like 2 days from when the regulators approved it. So the CMA have said that they're going to approve it in April, I think. CMA Activision. So they said 26th of April is their final report. Is there another report still due after that? Like I know CMA is the UK one. I think the EU one's already said it's fine. I don't know about the US one. I assume the US one said it's fine. If the UK is the last one, does that mean that this whole deal could go through in April? Like at the end of April? Yeah, I don't know. I thought the EU one was already done. They'd already said it was fine. And I don't know about the US one. I've got no idea. They had cloud gaming concerns. Yeah, but I mean, like the they said, what was it? Having considered the additional evidence provided, we've now provisionally concluded that the merger will not result in substantial lessening of competition in console gaming services because the cost to Microsoft of withholding Call of Duty from PlayStation would outweigh any gains from taking such action. Our provisional view that this deal raises concerns in the cloud gaming market is not affected by today's announcement. Our investigation remains on course for completion by the end of April. But the worries about the cloud gaming was that like the other big cloud gaming services would care about it, and Microsoft like struck deals with them, didn't they? With Nvidia was the other big one, and Microsoft like Nvidia agreed to a deal being like, hey, Call of Duty can definitely be available on the Nvidia thing. So I think that was fine. CMA is first, then EU, then ES. Oh, I thought the EU had approved it. EU, Activision, Microsoft deal. On March the 2nd, they said that it was going to be approved. The European Commission, they're scheduled to decide on it on April 25th. So that's when they actually do the decision. When's the FTC one? So the FTC, they said it was ages ago, in December, they said that the FTC said that they were going to block it. Or they said they asked the judge to look at blocking it. Microsoft's already shown that it can and will withhold content from its gaming rivals. But that was in December. Oh, and they've set a hearing before a judge in August. So it's a long while. And that was before they announced all of those deals. So that was before Microsoft announced like the deal they had with Nvidia and the deal they had with Nintendo and whoever else, saying that like, oh yeah, Call of Duty will be on all of these platforms for 10 years. So yeah, I mean, I would be surprised if that stopped it after in Europe it's basically been allowed to go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, I do. I think it's like I've always said like this deal just seems like of course it will go ahead kind of thing. Like, this is nothing like the scale of like Disney when they bought Fox, and that managed to go ahead despite everyone saying, hey, this is probably a bad idea if Disney owned like a third of the entertainment industry. Like, that was fine. I think it will just be a case of like the FTC have said like, hey, a judge should investigate this. The judge, like, there'll be a court case, and Microsoft will say, well, look, we've done all of this. We convinced the UK CMA, we convinced the EU Commission, um, the major competitors, Nvidia and Nintendo, have already signed a thing saying like they've signed a deal saying like they're okay with us doing this as long as Call of Duty is like available on their platforms for 10 years. It's only Sony who seem to still be having like a major problem with it. And of course Sony will, because they're the biggest competitor. But then like Sony are like, what is it? Sony already have like 80% of the console market share. It seems unlikely that they could argue that Microsoft will have a monopoly if they have Call of Duty. I think like a lot of the complaints and stuff were early on when a lot of these trade commissions and stuff didn't really understand. Like, people hear Microsoft and they think monopoly. Like, you know, it's kind of the assumption is that Microsoft are like this giant evil corporation that are gobbling everyone up. But when you look at the gaming space, they're not really anything like a monopoly. And like, if anything, Sony have done a lot more in terms of exclusives and blocking stuff on other platforms than any other platform holder has. I mean, I suppose other than Nintendo, but Nintendo just make it all in their own studios anyway. They rarely buy other studios, so it doesn't seem to be a big deal. But yeah, I can't imagine a judge looking at that and being like, oh yeah, Sony's going to be in trouble if Microsoft have Call of Duty. Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me. But you know, we'll see. I think it's very, very funny when like Sony are like, oh, this would be terrible if Microsoft bought Call of Duty, and then Sony are like, but we are going to buy Bungie and Insomniac. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's like, so Sony have done that quite a lot for years now, haven't they? Like the Call of Duty stuff where they've been like, oh, you know, we're going to have like a certain mode is going to be exclusive. Like it was that survival mode, and then it was that version of Outbreak Invasion or something that was unique to, that was like exclusive to Sony. And then they've done stuff like the Avengers game, making it so Spider-Man was exclusive to Sony platform, to PlayStation. And obviously just like lots of games that have been exclusive, like Street Fighter 5 was wasn't Street Fighter 5 exclusive to PlayStation? And like obviously they've done it with Final Fantasy games. Final Fantasy 7 Remake was exclusive. Ghostwire Tokyo was exclusive for like a year. Yeah, what was it called? Like Icebreaker, something like that. And now that, I mean, now they own Bungie. It's a strange situation. I think a lot of gaming, I don't know what you'd call them. They're not journalists, gaming commentators, like, you know, streamers and people who run Twitter accounts and stuff like that. A lot of those people get very, very wrapped up in the idea that Sony and Microsoft are like people, that like they're individual people, and that there's some kind, and Nintendo, and that there's like drama and bickering between them. Whereas I think the reality is a lot more boring than that, and it's just kind of, this whole thing is a business, and it's very, very complicated. And Sony, of course, are going to object to Microsoft doing something that could potentially hurt Sony sales. Like, obviously, why wouldn't they object? And they're going to try and find every little possible legal challenge they could to stop it happening, because that's good business for them. And like, it doesn't matter whether those like claims have too much grounding or anything. Even just delaying the deal is good for Sony. So yeah, it's just like, it seems like, I think, quite a boring thing that probably even between Microsoft and Sony, there's probably a bunch of their executives that go out for drinks and have dinners together and laugh about all this and say like, oh, we'll keep you wrapped up in courts for another few months. And they're like, oh, but we'll win eventually. And they'll be like, yeah, probably. I think it's that kind of thing. I just don't think they care. It's been really interesting and kind of refreshing seeing Phil Spencer being in charge of Xbox, because he's been a lot more transparent about all of this stuff and a little bit more principled in a way, where he's been like fairly open of like Sony and Nintendo aren't really competitors to Microsoft in the way that people think they are, in the way that, you know, kids think they are. Because it's like, if people buy a PlayStation and they buy games, they're now a gamer. And there's more chance of them in the future buying a Microsoft console and games that Microsoft publish, you know, Minecraft and stuff, and Game Pass, because they can do stuff on mobile. Like, all of Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo want the other companies to do well in a way. They just want to try and funnel as much of that business as they can to their thing. But like, in the end, like, Microsoft doing well isn't that much of a problem for Sony, and Sony doing well isn't that much of a problem for Microsoft, and Nintendo doing better than both of them isn't really a problem for any of them. It's like, they want more people to be involved in gaming. Like, they want more people to normalize gaming, to play games, to buy games, to allocate their luxury spending money on gaming. Like, everybody wants that. Like, all of those companies want that. And it's kind of, there's squabbling and stuff about who gets the bigger piece of the pie in various different areas. But no one really, like, it's not really the end of the world for any of them based on what any of the others do. It just doesn't matter. Apparently, Hogwarts Legacy has an exclusive mission available on PlayStation. Does it? Oh no, I haven't heard of that, but maybe. Comparing Microsoft to Sony is very strange, since Microsoft also. Yeah, but it is weird because like Microsoft as a whole company is much bigger than Sony, but then Sony, as in terms of console sales, is much bigger than Microsoft, like way bigger. What didn't like Microsoft themselves go to court and say, oh, Sony have like 80% of the, like, it's like 80-20 the ratio of sales or something like that for Sony, for PlayStation versus Xbox. And then I'm pretty sure Nintendo's dwarfed both of them in terms of console sales, but then Nintendo's a much smaller company than Sony or Microsoft, because this is all that Nintendo do, rather than, you know, Sony having their consumer electronics market and Microsoft having Windows. It's like, it's a massive, like, it's very different depending on which way you're looking at it, like which one of these companies is bigger. But Switch is much more successful than PlayStation or Xbox is. The whole thing's really weird, but I think people want to simplify it to understand it easier, and they tried to simplify it down to the idea of like, oh well, like Microsoft did this and this, so like Sony did this and this, so like that annoyed Sony, so in revenge they're going to do this and this, and it's just like, I don't think any of this really happens like that. I think all of this is very much like the way company mergers work in any other industry, where like the competitors will put up complaints to slow it down and make it more difficult if they can, and then eventually they'll say it's okay. And like I was saying, Phil Spencer's a little bit of an oddity, that he'll come out and talk about this stuff a bit more openly. You're unlikely to see someone from Nintendo or Sony talking quite as openly about it. But like, Phil Spencer will come out and be like, oh yeah, we just want as many people as possible to play our games. Like, that's it. And lots of people play Call of Duty, so if they own Call of Duty, that'll be good. The one thing that I find that's weird, that seems to get lost in all of this, is if Microsoft does get Activision, they also get Blizzard. They also get King. You know, Blizzard have World of Warcraft, which is a huge game, and Hearthstone as well, which is massive. And they also get King, so they get Candy Crush. And it's like, I'd imagine the revenue from those games isn't a million miles away from what Call of Duty does. It's like, and like, that doesn't seem to be a big problem for anyone. You know, it's a very, very odd situation. But I think it will just go through. I don't think, realistically, I don't think Microsoft would have even made this deal public if they didn't think it was going to happen. When's the last time there was a big merger that ended up not happening? Like, I personally, like, in the entertainment industry, I can't really think of a time where something was announced that they were trying to make it happen, then it didn't. Because it's not worth them spending all of this time and money and effort on lawyers and whatever, and then it not happening. But Nvidia and ARM aren't a That's not an entertainment industry thing. That's a technology thing. I imagine there's something very different about production of things. Like if you've got the processors that are going into huge numbers of other industries and you've got one company owning all of the factories, I imagine that would be a very bad thing. I can see how that would be a very bad thing. You know, it's already like the whole problem with TVs where there's like 4 factories that make the screens that are big enough for like 85-inch TVs and stuff like that. And it's like if one company owned all of them, they'd have a complete monopoly and they'd be kind of screwed. That's why Flynn just messaged me back. But yeah, I think in the entertainment industry, by the time something's been announced, the lawyers have checked it all through thoroughly and they're pretty sure it's going to happen. But AOL and Time Warner did merge, didn't they? Didn't AOL and Time Warner merge? I thought that did happen. Oh, I see. No, AOL wanted to buy Time Warner. What? Despite spinning off, those were things. AT&T bought them. AT&T wanted to buy Time Warner. They won the antitrust lawsuit and it was completed. Yeah, so that did go through. Did it? Oh, AOL Time Warner. Yeah, it was AOL Time Warner for a while. But state intentions, blah, blah, deal. Yeah, so it did go through. But yeah, that's what I mean. I just don't think these things often fail because it's like by the time they make it public, it's already been worked out essentially that it's going to happen. I personally, from a very selfish perspective, I'm super excited. Like, I mean, like Athas was saying, Hearthstone being on Game Pass, I don't know how much that matters because the game's basically free anyway. But if like Diablo, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, etc., are all on Game Pass, I'll be so happy. Like that'd be amazing for me, like because I already pay for Game Pass anyway. So I'll suddenly be getting like if I get my World of Warcraft subscription included as part of Game Pass, I'll probably play World of Warcraft every now and then. Like, you know, whenever there's a big thing happening. If there's like if Diablo's on there, that means I'll have Diablo on Xbox as well as PC. If like Call of Duty's on there, like does that mean like all of the old Call of Duty games will be on there? That's so cool. That'd be great. And I think that's what this is really about. Like, I think more than anything, this whole deal is about making Game Pass more valuable. Which, yeah, it's like insane. Like Game Pass already, if you think this year, how much is Game Pass a year? Like 120 quid? If you think Game Pass this year, you're going to get Redfall, Starfield, Forza Motorsport. What else is going to be on Game Pass this year? I know there's a load of smaller games like Plague Tale and stuff like that. What's coming to Game Pass? Coming to Game Pass 2023. So, we have games that are definitely coming to Game Pass this year, aside from stuff that, you know, might or might not be. We have MLB The Show, which I think is quite a big game, like the baseball thing of it. That's already on there. Minecraft Legends, which obviously people know Minecraft will be a huge thing. Redfall. Exoprimal's going to be on there. Texas Chainsaw Massacre's going to be on there. Starfield's going to be on there. Forza Motorsport's going to be on there. And then games that don't have a release date but are coming on there. City Skylines 2, Humankind. Guilty Gear Strive is already on there, which is really cool. Arc 2 has been announced as being a Game Pass game. And then other games that we don't know if they're actually coming out this year, like Avowed and Everwild and Hellblade 2 and Fable and Hollow Knight Silksong and stuff like that. Like, those games alone, I would say most gamers would probably, most people who own an Xbox would probably buy Forza and Starfield. And that's basically paid for Game Pass. That's Game Pass paying for itself. If you were going to buy Forza and Starfield, then the value of those 2 games has paid for Game Pass. And then you're getting all of these other games. Like, then you're getting to play Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Exoprimal and Redfall and Arc 2 and all of this stuff. Like, that's amazing. Maybe PlayStation gonna adjust their sub. They bloody should, because PlayStation's subscription service is mental. It's like utterly bizarre. I'm someone who follows gaming industry news, and I follow what's going on with games pretty closely. You know, like I read about the games news every day. I have a PlayStation 5. In our house, we've got 2 PlayStation 5s. We've got 3 Xbox Series X's, 2 Switches, 2 Steam Decks, like 2 gaming PCs. We're pretty much like the target audience for gaming companies, like, is us. And still, I don't really understand the PlayStation Plus thing very well. And I don't want it. Like, for a while, from January until March this year, I didn't have PlayStation Plus at all. And I'd be playing Destiny 2, and there'd be loads of activities in it that said, you need PlayStation Plus for this, and I could just play them. Even though I didn't have PlayStation Plus at all. The game itself was telling me, you need PlayStation Plus for this activity. I didn't. I could just do it. And then I see stuff on the PlayStation, what they call the PlayStation Plus collection, which you got if you had PlayStation Plus and you bought a PlayStation 5, but not if you only had it on PlayStation 4, I think. And that's like a set of good games. Like, that was a good collection of games. But you had that if you just had the basic PlayStation Plus subscription. I think when I don't have the PlayStation Plus subscription, I can't play those games. But when I do have it, I do have it. Although they're going to take that away soon. And then they have the monthly PlayStation Plus games, which are sometimes quite good and sometimes terrible. Which, again, you only have while you have PlayStation Plus. Then they have PlayStation Plus Extra, is it called? Or Premium? Something like that. Extra, I think. And then you get a bunch of extra games, like a lot of quite good older PlayStation 4 games, I think, but not many PlayStation 5 games. Some PlayStation 5 games, but not many as far as I know. And then you get trials of, I think you just get trials of some of the best games. So, like, I was looking at The Last of Us Remastered, the PlayStation 5 version of Last of Us 1. After the TV show came out, I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll play through it. I'll play the newer version. Then I saw it was 70 quid, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Not paying 70 quid for a game that I've already played. And then I saw it had the PlayStation Plus thing. I was like, oh, cool, so I could just get a PlayStation Plus membership for a month and then play it on there. But it's like, no. If you get PlayStation Plus Extra, you can play like a 2-hour trial of The Last of Us Remastered, but you can't play the full game. And obviously the game's longer than 2 hours, so that doesn't help. And then you can get PlayStation Plus Premium, which costs quite a lot of money a month, I think. Isn't it like 20 quid or something? 15 quid maybe. It's quite a lot of money. And then you get the PlayStation Plus Extra games, and you get PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 games, but not the games from PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 that you'd think. And the PlayStation 3 games are all streaming. You don't get to download them. You just have to stream them. So, like, the quality is, you know, sometimes a bit iffy because the PlayStation streaming isn't very good compared to the Xbox streaming. The Xbox streaming is very good. And it's like the PlayStation collections. Like, if I wrote down a list of the games that I would say, okay, you're going to do a collection of the best old PlayStation games that you can play on the current console, I'd be like, okay, so you're going to have all of the Metal Gear Solids. Nope. All of the Silent Hills. Nope. All of the Wipeout games. Nope. It's like all of the games that I thought would be like, okay, these are the classic PlayStation games, just aren't there. And instead it's all of like the B tier PlayStation games that are just like a bit odd and some of the one-offs. And there's like the ModeStorm games, but not all of the ModeStorm games. And the ModeStorm games that were on PlayStation 3, which like most of them were, they're all streaming and they look like crap on streaming. It's so bizarre. It's like, utterly insane. Like, it's just such a weird, complicated set of like rules and deals and stuff where it's like I couldn't concisely say this is what you get for having this level of PlayStation Plus. If someone said to me, like, if someone like my sister said to me, you know, her kids are the age now where they're playing console games. If she said to me on PlayStation, oh, should I get PlayStation Plus? I'd have a really tough conversation with her of trying to work out exactly what my niece and nephew would want to play and whether that would be worth the amount of money you'd be spending. Whereas my nephew got an Xbox for his birthday or for Christmas or something the end of last year. And they were like, oh, what should we get on the Xbox? And I was like, Game Pass. Because Game Pass is really good. And I think they were like, oh, do they need like Game Pass Ultimate? And I'm like, do they play PC games? They were like, no. I was like, no. Because it's like, you get Game Pass, which gives you Game Pass on Xbox. So you get everything on Xbox, and you get like, you can play online because of it. You can play all of the catalog of Game Pass games, which is an insane catalog, as well as all of the new games, first-party games that come out this year, as well as a bunch of third-party games. And then if you want to play Ultimate, then you get access to the streaming on like your phone and on Samsung TVs, and you get access to it on PC. And that's it. The only thing that I find at all confusing about Game Pass is that some games are available on PC but not on Xbox and vice versa. That's like the tiniest bit confusing, but you can kind of understand why that is, because some games just aren't available on Xbox, like Total War and stuff like that. It's just like, Game Pass is just, it just makes sense. It's just like, hey, there's this massive collection of games you can play, and you just pay a subscription to access them. And yep, any new Microsoft games that come out, they'll definitely be included. Any like, and here's a big list of all the other games. Most of the games you'd expect are on there. So like all of the Halo games are on there. All of the rare Xbox games are on there. Not all of the Forzas, but the newest Forzas are on there. But not like, you can't go back and play all of the Forza Motorsports or all of the Forza Horizons actually, which is a little bit strange. It's just like a bunch of all of the best games. It's really cool. And it was Sony. You get the PlayStation. You could get PlayStation Plus Premium, like their premium thing, and then they bring out a new game, like a new first-person game, like Horizon Forbidden West, and it wasn't on the service. And it's like, why? Like, so now I've got PlayStation Premium that I'm paying like £10 a month for, and then you need to pay 70 quid if you want to play like the new first-person Sony games. Like Spider-Man won't be on it day one, and like I don't know what other Sony games are coming out this year. I don't know. I just find it weird. In general, I'm kind of disappointed with my PlayStation 5. Forza's licensing, you can't buy them anymore. Is that because of the car licensing or the music licensing? I imagine both are probably a problem. Like Guitar Hero games, like there's problems with those that they don't want you buying them anymore. That's interesting. I didn't know you can't buy them. Like you just can't buy the games anymore. That's weird. Yeah. But yeah, my PlayStation, I bought both the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 the day they launched, because they launched like a week apart or so, 2 weeks apart, didn't they? I bought both of them the day they came out. And the Xbox Series X has slowly won me over where I think it's worth it because of the massive collection, the massive back catalogue of games, and how well they all work on the Xbox Series X. You know, the instant resume is great, having that available for multiple games. So many games work with a better frame rate than they used to, which is awesome. And Game Pass is just incredible. And like, there's so many new quirky games that come onto Game Pass that I absolutely love. PlayStation 5, I've got no idea what value I've got out of the PlayStation 5. It's like, essentially on my PlayStation 5, I play Fortnite and Warzone mostly, which I could play on a PlayStation 4. And all of the PlayStation 4 games don't look any better on the PlayStation 5, like unless they've released a new version of them, half of which they bloody charge you again to play the PlayStation 5 version. My saves didn't cross over because annoyingly I didn't manually upload them to the cloud because I didn't know that was a thing you had to do because it's just automatic on the Xbox. I just don't really get what I've got out of the PlayStation 5. Like the PlayStation 5 exclusives I've played, like Demon Souls was okay, but Demon Souls just isn't as good as the Dark Souls or Bloodborns or anything like that. It's still, like, it looks nice, but gameplay-wise, It's still stuck in the past. It was nowhere near as good as Elden Ring. There was that Sackboy Adventures that wasn't very good, and I think is now on PlayStation 4 anyway. There was Horizon Forbidden West, which I didn't think was very good. I don't really get what the PlayStation 5 is. I don't really get what like the PlayStation 5 is for. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. If it was like maybe PSVR 2 is good, but like, you know, if someone offered me a PlayStation VR 2 for cheap, I'd get it. I just can't afford £500 to spend on it, you know? Like that's kind of insane. That's a huge amount of money. You're downloading Forza Horizon 4 first because it's set in England. I would say Forza Horizon 4 and 5 are basically the same game. They're really, really similar to each other. Like, 5 is slightly prettier, but in terms of gameplay features and progression and stuff, they're the same game. So it's like, if you want to play it somewhere rainy and kind of countryside-y, like, you know, you're in England and you want to play that, Forza Horizon 4 is great. If you want to play it somewhere where it's very hot and sunny and like you like that aesthetic, you can play Forza Horizon 5. But otherwise, gameplay-wise, they're the same thing. There's probably differences in cars, but I didn't notice them. I ended up using the same cars in both of them. I always end up buying an Ariel Atom because they're like insanely fast and cheap and really easy to drive. And it's just like, you just use an Ariel Atom and blitz around everything. GT7 and PSVR 2 are the only things the PlayStation has you want, but you're not doing all that for one game. Yeah, I mean, Ghost of Tsushima is amazing on PlayStation 5, but it was also amazing on PlayStation 4, which is when I played Ghost of Tsushima. That was another one where you had to like pay for the upgrade on PlayStation 5, didn't you? And it was like, I did it, and then I played it and was like, oh, this is the same. It's like, you know, the frame rate's nicer and stuff, but that didn't bother me that much on the PlayStation 4 version. It was like, it was a good PlayStation 4 game that is better on PlayStation 5. Oh, it was free, was it, the upgrade? What did I pay for then? Did I pay for like DLC or something, like the co-op mode? I know there was some upgrade that I had to pay for on Ghost of Tsushima to be able to play what I wanted to. And it was like 10 or 20 quid or something. Oh, was it free on PlayStation Plus? Maybe that was why. PlayStation Plus Plus. I don't even know if that's a typo or that's a real thing. I know when they first did the Ghost of Tsushima update for PlayStation 5, I had to pay some money to be able to play it for some reason. It was weird. Yeah, House, the oh yeah, that's probably why. Sony did like a weird thing where loads of their games, it was like, or loads of the games on PlayStation 4, you had to pay a little bit of money for an upgrade. It was like 10 or 20 quid for each of them. It was super annoying. It was more annoying just because all of the Xbox ones were free. But yeah, so the GT7 and PSVR 2. Yeah, I really want to try PSVR 2. I don't want to spend £500 on it, especially when the only games that I think I would play a lot of are Pavlov and Gran Turismo. And Gran Turismo 7 as an actual game, like not ignoring the VR side of it, I didn't think was very good. I thought it was quite disappointing. It's just like, it's super grindy. It's like the racing side of it is quite dull. Like there's no excitement to it. I personally am not like that into sim racing. I'm more into like racing that's a bit more exciting. Like I like my games like Need for Speed and stuff. Like I like arcadey racing games. And yeah, GT7 was just bland to me. I didn't really like it. I've still got it. Like every now and then I think about installing it again and I watch a stream of it and I'm like, oh no, I remember what this looks like. Like, if PlayStation VR 2 ever goes on sale, I'll probably get one. But for now, I'm not spending £500. It's the middle tier. It's what you call it. PlayStation, you've got PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Plus Plus, and the top tier is PlayStation Plus Plus Plus. PlayStation Plus is a bloody mess. Sort it out, Sony. Just have PlayStation Plus. Just have a new thing called PlayStation Plus. Charge £10 a month for it and put on all of your games. Put on all of the Sony first-party games and then any other companies that they work with closely, like Capcom and Square Enix, Konami, put their games on it too. Sorted. Do what, you know, Microsoft does with EA and Ubisoft to have some sort of deal where some of their games go on, but maybe not their new games. I don't know. Just do Game Pass, Sony. If there was a PlayStation Plus and I could load it up and I could be like, oh, I can play all of the Metal Gear Solid games and they run at like 60 frames a second because it's running on PlayStation 5. Or I could play all of the Silent Hill games, or I could play all of the Resident Evil games, or I could play all of the Final Fantasy games, or something like that. I'd be like, well excited. That'd be really cool. But they're not. You thought PlayStation Plus Premium is getting axed. Is that PlayStation Plus Plus Plus? Didn't Sony try to buy Ubisoft? I don't know. I've heard that Ubisoft are desperate for someone to buy them. I heard that Ubisoft are like really trying to find someone to buy them. But like nobody wants to because it's like Ubisoft's an insane company. Like, well, I mean, the problem is that they don't own any of those franchises, do they, Convict? Like, Resident Evil is Capcom, Metal Gear Solid's Konami. Like, they're not first-party franchises. What are the first-party franchises? Like, the Naughty Dog stuff and God of War, I guess? Are even all of the God of War games on PlayStation Plus Plus? Is that even a thing? Yeah, so this is a good example of why no one's bought Ubisoft. So, how is Discord on Series X? The voice quality is crap, but it's super easy to use. I used it the other night. I was playing Diablo with Name Gear, and I used it. And yeah, the voice quality was kind of bad. Like, it didn't always... It has like a voice activation thing, and it doesn't work that well. Hopefully, it'll just get improved over time. But like, sometimes it didn't pick up that I was talking. I was using like the official Xbox headset, just the cheap one, but like the official one. And yeah, it wasn't working that well, but it was super easy. Like, you just go into the dashboard. It's like, it has a Discord thing. You know, you bring up the guide, and then you say, join a Discord channel, and then you pick which server it is, pick which channel it is. Super easy. Really, really simple. Really liked it. You think God of War 3 is... What, but not God of War 1 and 2? What the hell? That's bizarre. Anyway, yeah, so this is why no one wants to buy Ubisoft. So Ubisoft, as far as I know, wants someone to buy them. Like, they want to be bought in the same way that Activision are being bought, the same way Bethesda was bought, because, you know, they've been struggling a bit. But if you buy Ubisoft, you are buying Ubisoft Sao Paulo, Ubisoft Montreal, Quebec City, Chicoutimi, Toronto, Winnipeg, Halifax, Mexico City, Cary, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Milan, Barcelona, Madrid, Annecy, Bordeaux, Lyon, Montpellier, Paris, Warsaw, Moscow, Belgrade, Malmo, Stockholm, Belarus, Helsinki, Berlin, Dusseldorf, Mainz, Bucharest, Craiova, Kiev, Odessa, Sofia, Utrecht, Leamington Spa, Newcastle, London, Guildford, Abu Dhabi. We're not done. Mumbai, Pune, Tokyo, Osaka, Seoul, Taiwan, Da Nang, Sydney, Hong Kong, Singapore, Santa Rosa, Chengdu, and Shanghai. That's a list of Ubisoft studios. Even the fact, I mean, imagine trying to do a merger where you're buying a company that has offices in Moscow and Kiev. That's insane. They're not even just offices, Robert Hall. These aren't Ubisoft offices. These are Ubisoft development studios. Actual Ubisoft studios that are working on games and making games. If you ever finish one of the more recent Assassin's Creed games, just sitting through the list of studios, let alone the list of staff who worked on a game, but sitting through the list of studios who worked on a game, it's insane. Like, properly crazy. They have so many studios. And it's like, and they're all really different as well. Like, Ubisoft Singapore, working on Skull and Bones. Ubisoft Montreal, they were working on, I want to say, Ghost Recon Frontlines, which got cancelled. But they are the people who made Rainbow Six Siege. But then Rainbow Six Siege has now been moved over to someone else to like carry on working on, like Rainbow Six, maybe San Francisco. It's like super weird. It's all over the place. Just, how would you buy that company? Like, how would you bring them into your company at all? Like, it just seems utterly insane. Even Activision, like Activision have what, 14 studios that are working on Call of Duty, and then they have King, that's like 3 studios that make mobile games, and then they have Blizzard, and I don't know how many studios Blizzard have. Some. I assume they have more than one. because, you know, there's like Blizzard, whoever are doing Overwatch, whoever's doing World of Warcraft, whoever's doing Diablo, whoever's doing thing. I assume they're different studios, but even that's like nothing compared to Ubisoft. Ubisoft just have so many different studios. And all of these studios, as far as I know, these studios, I know definitely Singapore, and this is what I'm basing it on to assume that everyone else is the same. They all have like deals with the governments that those countries are in. So all of these countries have like subsidies for if you are a game developer and you're hiring game developers in their country and you're making games in their country, then they'll give you some money and some tax breaks and stuff like that. So they have studios set up in all of these different countries with all of these different deals. Supposedly that's why Skull and Bones can't be cancelled, is because even though the game's a disaster, the Singapore government has put so much money into it. They basically like have to release the game at some point, which is just insane. Other than Assassin's Creed and Siege, what else does Ubisoft have that's worth buying? Just Dance is probably the biggest game they have, I would imagine. I'd assume Just Dance is Ubisoft's biggest game. Then they have Siege, For Honor, Ghost Recon, Far Cry, Assassin's Creed. Then you've got all of those things where it's like dubious about whether they're actually worth buying, like Prince of Persia or Splinter Cell or stuff like that. Have we got a list of their games? Can I find a list of Ubisoft? List of Ubisoft franchises. I think Just Dance is probably... Oh, Rabbids. Rabbids is their thing. Like, they do the Mario and Luigi Rabbids thing, which is pretty crazy. So here we go. They have Anno. Anno's pretty big on PC. I mean, still very niche compared to, you know, someone like Call of Duty or whatever, but still not doing bad. Assassin's Creed, huge. Brothers in Arms hasn't been good for a long while. Call of Juarez hasn't been one for a while. CSI, I feel like those games did very well. The Driver games used to be huge, but probably not anymore. Far Cry is obviously massive. Heroes of Might and Magic's like one of those niche things. Just Dance is huge. Might and Magic, again, very niche, but was awesome when it was there. Apparently there's been 13... I don't know. NFL Fever, I don't know what that is. Prince of Persia, Rabbids, Rayman, forgot about that. Settlers, which they've just released a bad version of that. Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six, Splinter Cell, Trackmania. Trackmania is huge in Europe. Like, Trackmania is a big deal. I think a lot of people play that. Trials is quite a big game. Lots of people do. Yeah, what else is there? Anything else on here that's any good? The Crew. I think there's meant to be a new Crew game, isn't there, this year? So that's cool. I like The Crew. Anything else? Oh, they do the Hasbro games like Monopoly and stuff like that. I think those sell pretty well. You will see lots of sales for it and stuff like that about. The South Park games, so they did Stick of Truth and the Fractured But Whole. The Division, that's them as well. Uno was cool. Watch Dogs. I haven't streamed Trials in forever. When's the last time I streamed Trials? Have I ever streamed Trials? I used to really like playing Trackmania and Trials, but I haven't played them for ages. Division's the best-selling game Ubisoft has ever had. No. Just Dance must absolutely eclipse The Division. I reckon, I would say, if I put it in a ranking, for just copies sold, so you can't really include Siege, because it's not sort of free-to-play now, I would say it's probably Just Dance, then Assassin's Creed, then Far Cry, then maybe Ghost Recon, then The Division. Oh, yeah, I was playing MX vs. ATV. Yeah. Yeah, I find it. Ubisoft. Let's try it. Ubisoft franchises ranked by sales. Oh yeah! Wow, this surprises me. I don't know when this was posted. I don't know the dates for this, but I'm going to assume this is right. So, apologies for not having any idea when this was done. Mute the site because I feel like it's going to be playing music. So, Number 1, Assassin's Creed, by a long way. Then Just Dance, then Far Cry, then Splinter Cell, which really surprises me. Then Rainbow Six, then Rayman. Bear in mind, you know, Splinter Cell's had what, 6 quite successful games. Rainbow Six has had 5, maybe. Far Cry's had 8. Just Dance has had 1 every year for like God knows how long. Assassin's Creed has got 1 million. Pets, The Crew, Imagine Prince Persia, Driver, blah, blah, blah. Division's not even in that top 20. Oh, it's down there for player counts. It's down as 20 million. But then how is it not above that? What? If it was on 20 million, you'd think it'd be up there with Driver at least, but I don't know. That's according to the first to hit the See, this one from gaming.net, they say their top franchise is Just Dance. I feel like Just Dance must be higher than Assassin's Creed. I know Assassin's Creed is insane. Like, Assassin's Creed, for a single-player story game, it's, like, just bizarre how high they are. It's actually kind of interesting. So if you look at, this is the Wikipedia page, right, I'll put it on screen. This is the Wikipedia page for the best-selling video game franchises. Mario is at the top because, you know, Nintendo does insanely well and the Sony Mario games. Then Tetris, because, I mean, look at this. Physical sales, 70 million. Mobile game paid downloads, 425 million. 425 million times people have paid for Tetris on their mobile phones. Bear in mind, for a long while, Tetris was one of the only games you could play on your mobile phone. It was better than Snake. So that's insane. Absolutely insane. Then Pokemon. Again, probably so many games. Then Call of Duty, which is very close to Pokemon, which is kind of surprising. Bear in mind that Pokemon has been on the most successful consoles of all time. So like, think like the DS, the Game Boy, the Wii. I mean, I'm sure there was some sort of Pokemon game on the Wii. The Switch, you know, it's like huge. Grand Theft Auto. Super Mario, for some reason, is down here. I don't know why that's separate from this. FIFA, Minecraft, Wii, like Wii Sports and stuff. The Lego games, The Sims, and then Assassin's Creed, get up there, 200 million. Crazy. Then Mario Kart, Sonic Hedgehog, Need for Speed, Zelda, Resident Evil, Madden, Star Wars, Wii Sport, Tomb Raider, Gran Turismo, Monster Hunter, Dragon Quest, the Tom Clancy's game. See, even if you grab all the Tom Clancy's games up, it's only up to 82 million. Crazy. Worms is up there, 75 million. I mean, I know it used to be huge, but it seems crazy to me. I find it weird when you look at gaming numbers. Like, if you said the most successful franchises of all time, if you said the most successful games of all time, I reckon if you asked, like, the gaming community on Twitter, people would immediately start coming up with stuff like Halo and Counter-Strike and Dota and stuff like that. And it's like, they're not even on the list. They're not even up there compared to, like, Mario, Tetris, Pokemon, Call of Duty. Like, they're so much higher. I don't reckon it is BR1. I think I would guess both Just Dance and Assassin's Creed would be bigger than all of their Tom Clancy things put together. I genuinely think Just Dance and Assassin's Creed absolutely eclipse anything that they do with Tom Clancy. Like, think of the Tom Clancy games. It's like Rainbow Six Siege, which is a big thing for first-person shooter fans, but with casual gamers, I don't think many people are playing Siege. And then, like, Ghost Recon, as famously the last 2 games have been, like, fairly bad. Like, fairly badly received. You know, they weren't the big success they wanted it to be. And the Division has never sold that well. I don't think the Division's ever sold that well. Right. So copies sold of Tom Clancy games. Okay, so Clancy's games, apparently, this is from a newspaper. Oh, that's 2013. That doesn't work. Is there a way to do this? I'm trying to find something that's recent. Okay, so, I mean, according to that website we were going on before, if you added up all the Tom Clancy games, so Splinter Cell 31 million, Rainbow Six 20 million, Ghost Recon 25, and like I said, The Division isn't on there for some reason. If you add all of those up, that adds up to 5176, which is a bit more than Just Dance, but about half of Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed Valhalla sales. Is there a way to find out how many copies of it they've sold? Reception, sales. Assassin's Creed has apparently been, by February 2022, it had made over $1 billion in revenue. Assassin's Creed is huge. Like, I genuinely think it's hard to, it's always hard to find this sort of stuff. Oh yeah, Candy Crush is massive. I'm almost certain Assassin's Creed by itself, like Valhalla by itself, has sold more than all the Tom Clancy games put together. And like, I would think on a yearly basis, Just Dance sells more than any of the Tom Clancy games. Or all of the just, like, if you picked Just Dance 2022 against all of the Tom Clancy games from 2022, I would have assumed that Just Dance is doing better. I don't know for sure. Best-selling games of 2022. So this is Forbes, so I'm going to assume that that's reliable. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. I can't. Just Dance isn't even on there from what I can see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Just Dance doesn't do as well. I'm sure there was a Just Dance for that year. It's the best selling video game. I can't find a good list. I can't find a good way to compare them all. One thing Tom Clancy has going for it is longevity, not recent annual sales. Yeah, but I think there's a difference in, what would you call it? In scale. Like, what do you call it when it's like one number's like 10 and one's 100? By a different factor? A different, like, it's just a different ballpark. Like, Just Dance games are available primarily, you know, they're available on all of the consoles, but they do really well on like the Switch and on the Wii. And the Switch and the Wii outsold the other consoles by such an insane number, and you can't get most of the Tom Clancy games on the Switch or the Wii. Like, and I think that's enough to like stop them. I'd imagine if you look like, is there a way of finding best-selling Tom Clancy games? All of these are like either old or weird. So supposedly, according to this list, I'll put it up on screen so you can see what I'm looking at. According to this is one from Game Rant, and it's from October, so not too long ago. And they're saying Assassin's Creed. So Assassin's Creed 2 sold 9 million copies. Watch Dogs, 9 million copies. Unity, 10 million. Far Cry 4, 10 million. Far Cry 3, 10 million. The Division 2, 10 million. Assassin's Creed Origins, 10 million. Wildlands, 10 million. Rainbow Six Siege, 10 million. Watch Dogs 2, 10 million. Odyssey, 10 million. Assassin's Creed 3, 12 million. Prince of Persia Sands of Time, 14 million. That's shocking to me. Black Flag, 15 million. The Division, so I guess that's the first Division, did better, 20 million. For Honor, 21 million. Surprised that's so high. The Crew, 21 million. Far Cry 5, 25 million. Where the hell's Valhalla? Where's Valhalla in that? Like, this is their list. But even that, so that's like, I suppose that's Far Cry 5 apparently is outselling thing. But then, like, why have they not got Just Dance or Assassin's Creed Valhalla on here? When Valhalla was obviously selling an insane amount. I don't know. I'm starting to think maybe the people that write these articles don't have a good source on where they get them from. That's what I'm going to assume is going on here. But I don't know. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the market is much bigger. Just Dance for serious. Yeah, for some reason, none of these things are taking in. I found a thing here saying like Just Dance 1 sold 6 million copies, Just Dance 2 10 million, Just Dance 3 10 million, but then they don't have numbers for any of the others. Do Ubisoft just not release them maybe? I don't know. I can't find anything about how many copies any of these sell. Yeah, so Just Dance 1, okay, fine, sold 4 million copies. How do I find how many the most recent one? So Just Dance 2020 sold... It doesn't say how many they've sold. Like, literally, it doesn't say on the Wikipedia page for it. I guess it's because people don't care about Just Dance, so you don't have, like, big fan groups, like, searching for stuff. You're on VG charts. Yeah, see, that doesn't fill me with confidence. I saw a link for that. I would really like it if it was just from, like, NPDs or something. Where you at least know that, okay, it's only the US sales, but at least you know where they're getting the numbers from. And that one says Just Dance 1 sold for 70 million. Yeah, like that's insane. And yet Wikipedia saying it sold 4 million. I think our problem here is that game companies are not releasing their figures, are they? They're not releasing how many they're doing it. Anyway, this has been going on for half an hour longer than I expected. So thank you so much for everyone who stuck around. One really nice thing about the stream, while, okay, we only peaked at like, how many viewers did we peak at today? 40? 48. We had 48 was the peak today, which is obviously lower than the like 150 or whatever I sometimes get when I'm streaming DMZ. But with DMZ, normally it peaks after about an hour of the stream, and then it starts trailing off. People just get bored of watching games. This, we've peaked at 48, and then it's stuck to like above 35 for bloody ages. So thank you so much for everyone who stuck around. Really enjoyed this. Definitely going to do more streams like this. I still don't know, and I'm open to suggestions about how regular to do this, whether to do this like I don't think I should do it every day. Maybe I should do it every day. Or I could do it every week, or I could do it every like, you know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. No idea. So I don't know how often I'm going to do this. Tomorrow I probably won't do this because I'm going to stream Rocket City when the embargo for that lifts at 4 p.m. So I won't be about in the morning, but I'll be about in the afternoon tomorrow. And then Wednesday I might do it again. We'll see. Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll do a few this week and see if people are up for doing it and like this. Thank you very much, Mandago. I've had a really good time. Like I said earlier, I am going to be giving it a go on Kick in a very sort of let's see how it goes kind of way. So if any of you want to go follow me on Kick, I will be live there in about an hour and 20 minutes. I'm going to be helping Shauna to do the raids. So we're going to be doing some Call of Duty raids. We're going to be doing both of them, hopefully on veteran and on normal. Yeah, from about 2 p.m. British time. So that's in an hour and 20 minutes. So thank you very much for watching and goodbye. Go follow me on Kick or something. Goodbye.